Hello and welcome to the Illinois Rules of the Road audiobook. We hope you find this resource helpful and informative as you navigate the roads of our great state. Whether you are a seasoned driver or new to the road, this guide is designed to provide you with important information and tips to help you stay safe and confident behind the wheel. So sit back, relax, and let's get started.
Illinois continues to be a national leader in traffic safety. Over the last decade, traffic fatalities in our state have declined significantly. This is due in large part to innovative efforts to combat drunk and distracted driving, as well as stronger guidelines for new teen drivers. The driving public's increased awareness and avoidance of hazardous driving behaviors are critical for Illinois to see a further decline in traffic fatalities. Beginning May 3, 2023, the federal government will require your driver's license or ID card, DL/ID, to be Real ID compliant for use as identification to board domestic flights. Not every person needs a Real ID card, which is why we offer you a choice. You decide if you need a Real ID or standard DL/ID. More information is available on the following pages. The application process for Real ID compliant DL/ID requires enhanced security measures that meet mandated federal guidelines. As a result, you must provide documentation confirming your identity, social security number, residency, and signature. Please note there is no immediate need to apply for Real ID compliant DL/ID. Current Illinois DL/IDs will be accepted to board domestic flights until May 3, 2023. For more information about the Real ID program, visit realid.ilsos.gov or call 833-503-4074. As Secretary of State, I will continue to maintain the highest standards when it comes to traffic safety and public service in Illinois. Jesse White, Illinois Secretary of State. This edition of the Illinois Rules of the Road is as accurate as possible at the time of publication. The booklet contains information you must know to pass the written test on traffic laws and signs in order to obtain basic driving privileges. It includes information on obtaining a driver's license laws, traffic safety issues, and general information regarding Illinois traffic laws and ordinances. The language of the Illinois compiled statutes is condensed and paraphrased and does not cover every law or explain every possible situation that motorists may face while operating a motor vehicle. The manual also provides highway safety information not in the law. It is intended as a tool for drivers and should not be cited as a legal authority in court. Additional information and forms are available at ilsos.gov. Note to the reader: the application process for a Real ID compliant document requires enhanced security measures that meet mandated federal guidelines, even if you already have a standard issued Illinois driver's license or identification DL/ID card. As a result, you must provide documentation confirming your identity, social security number, residency, and signature. Unless specifically stated, the information contained in this chapter concerning the DL/ID application process applies to both Real ID compliant and standard issued documents. For more information about Illinois' Real ID program, please visit realid.ilsos.gov or call 833-503-4074. Chapter 1: Illinois Driver's License. To drive legally in Illinois, you must have a valid Illinois driver's license. A driver's license is classified by the Gross Vehicle Weight Rating, GVWR, of the operator's vehicle. For a list of all driver classifications, see page 103. A driver seeking a basic license to operate a car in Illinois is issued a Class D license. Holders of a Class D license also may operate rental vehicles up to 26,000 pounds when transporting their own personal property or that of an immediate family member for non-business purposes within the state of Illinois. The driver is required and should be provided information to successfully complete a safety course regarding the safe operation of that vehicle from the rental company. A driver must meet special requirements to operate a school bus, religious organization bus, child care vehicle, vehicle used in for-profit ride-sharing, or vehicle used for senior citizen transportation. For more information, Please visit a local driver services facility or call the Safe Ride section of the Secretary of State's office at 217-782-7674. For procedures on obtaining a license to operate a motorcycle or commercial vehicle, please refer to the Illinois Motorcycle Operator Manual, the Rules of the Road for Non-CDL Vehicles, or the Commercial Driver's License Study Guide available at any Secretary of State facility or at ilsos.gov. For procedures on obtaining a temporary visitor driver's license, please refer to the Temporary Visitor Driver's License Quick Guide available at ilsos.gov. Age restrictions: drivers 16 to 21. You must be at least age 18 to obtain an Illinois driver's license. The following exceptions apply. If you are age 16 or 17, you may receive your license if you successfully complete a state-approved driver education course, complete 50 hours of practice driving, and pass the 3 parts of the driver's license exam. If a parent cannot accompany a minor to the facility, an affidavit/consent for minor to drive must be signed by a legal guardian or a responsible adult over age 21. For more information about obtaining a driver's license before age 18, see page 16. If you are a first-time Illinois driver's license applicant, are age 18, 19, or 20, and have never been licensed or completed an approved high school or commercial school driver education program, you must successfully complete a 6-hour adult driver education course through a Secretary of State certified adult driver education provider before obtaining a license. More information is available by visiting ilsos.gov. A driver under age 18 is not allowed to drive any vehicle for hire transporting property, example, delivery persons, or any vehicle requiring a commercial driver's license. A driver under age 21 is not allowed to drive any vehicle for hire that is transporting more than 10 passengers, a commuter van, a religious organization bus, a school bus, a vehicle transporting senior citizens, or a child care vehicle. Exemptions. You may drive in Illinois without a valid Illinois driver's license if you meet one of the following circumstances. If you have permanently moved to Illinois from another state or country and have a valid non-Illinois driver's license. You must obtain an Illinois license within 90 days or before your driver's license expires, whichever comes first. If you are visiting or driving through Illinois and have a valid driver's license from your home state or country. If you are an out-of-state student attending an Illinois college/university, you and your spouse and children may drive with a valid license from your home state or country. If you are on active duty with the U.S. Armed Forces, you and your spouse and dependent children living with you may drive with a valid license from your home state. If you are serving in the U.S. Armed Forces outside the United States, but are a legal resident of Illinois, you and your spouse and dependent children living with you may drive during the first 120 days of your return if you previously obtained a deferral of your driver's license. If you are serving as a civilian employee for the U.S. Armed Forces or the U.S. Department of Defense outside the United States, but are a legal resident of Illinois, you and your spouse and dependent children living with you may drive during the first 120 days of your return if you previously obtained a deferral of your driver's license. If you are employed by the U.S. government or a member of the U.S. Armed Forces, you do not need a valid Illinois license if traveling on official business and driving a vehicle owned by or leased to the government. If you are operating a road machine temporarily on the roadway or farm tractor between the farm buildings and nearby farmland. Changing the name/address on an Illinois driver's license/ID card. If you have legally changed your name, you must apply for a corrected driver's license/ID card. This must be done within 30 days of the name change. You must provide documentation that links your new name to the name on your current driver's license/ID card and on file with the Secretary of State's office. The name displayed on the driver's license/ID card will be your full given name and surname as recorded at birth, at marriage, by the Social Security Administration or as otherwise established through legal action. You must notify the Secretary of State's office of an address change within 10 days of any move by. Visiting a driver services facility. Visiting ilsos.gov online services, or writing to the Secretary of State, Driver Services Department, address change, 2701, South Dirksen Parkway, Springfield, Illinois, 62723. You will not receive an updated DL/ID reflecting the address change unless you visit a facility, present acceptable documents to prove residency including a valid mailing address, see page 104, and pay the appropriate fee. Document/ID requirements for driver's license/ID card. To receive an Illinois driver's license/ID card, you must provide acceptable forms of identification to prove your legal name, date of birth, social security number, residency, and signature. Please refer to the acceptable identification documents chart on page 104 for a list of documents that may be used. Please note the following. Signature comparison is required in the verification process. The number of documents required depends on whether you are applying for a driver's license/ID card for the first time or requesting a duplicate or corrected driver's license/ID card. You must provide a valid mailing address at the time of application. You will be required to have a photo taken, surrender all other Illinois driver's licenses/identification cards/instruction permits, pass the appropriate exams, and pay the appropriate fee. An applicant applying for a temporary visitor driver's license should refer to the Temporary Visitor Driver's License Quick Guide for document requirements. First-time Real ID compliant driver's license/ID card applicant. Applicants applying for a Real ID compliant driver's license/ID card for the first time, even if they already hold a standard issued driver's license/ID card, are required to present the documentation of the following. Proof of identity *, including U.S. citizenship or lawful status. Proof of date of birth. Proof of social security number. Proof of signature, and 2 documents to prove Illinois residency. * If an applicant brings identity documents with a name different from his/her current legal name, such as a certified birth certificate, he/she must bring additional documentation indicating the reason for the name change, such as a certified marriage certificate, copy of divorce decree, adoption papers, etc. First-time standard issued Illinois driver's license/ID card applicant. An applicant applying for a standard-issued Illinois driver's license/ID card for the first time is required to present documentation of the following. Proof of date of birth. Proof of social security number. Proof of residency, 1 document, and proof of signature. Please refer to the acceptable identification documents chart on page 104 for a list of documents that may be used. 1 document may satisfy more than one group. Those applying for a disabled ID card must also present a form entitled Application for an Illinois Person with a Disability Identification Card. This form must be properly completed and signed by a medical professional. Duplicate/corrected driver's license/ID card. An applicant applying for either a duplicate or corrected driver's license/ID card is required to present documentation of the following. Proof of written signature, and proof of residency if the applicant is requesting an address change to appear on the document. An applicant may apply for a duplicate driver's license/ID card on ilsos.gov online services as long as there are no changes to address, name, or date of birth. An applicant requesting a change in name, date of birth, social security number, or gender must provide identification to link the change from the previous information to the new information. An applicant under age 60 whose license was stolen must present a police report to receive a duplicate driver's license/ID card at no cost. Persons over age 60 do not need a police report for a duplicate driver's license/ID card at no cost. Driver's license/ID card renewal. About 90 days before your license expires, you should receive a renewal notice from the Secretary of State's office with information on what documents must be provided and what tests are necessary. You may renew your license up to 1 year before a 2- or 4-year driver's license expires. You may renew up to 6 months before a 1-year driver's license expires. You may not receive a renewal notice if you fail to notify the Secretary of State's office of a change of name or address. It is the driver's responsibility to renew the license before expiration, regardless of whether a renewal letter is received. A driver's license is valid for 4 years and expires on the driver's birthday except in the following cases. Drivers under age 21, license expires 3 months after their 21st birthday. Drivers ages 81 to 86, license valid for 2 years. Drivers ages 87 and older, license requires annual renewal. Drivers holding a temporary visitor driver's license expires in 3 years or upon the expiration of immigration documents. Information on renewing and a list of acceptable documents for a temporary visitor driver's license are available by referring to the Temporary Visitor Driver's License Quick Guide or visiting ilsos.gov. Standard renewal. To renew your driver's license, you must visit a driver services facility and present your current license/ID and renewal notice. Visit ilsos.gov online services if you received a PIN renewal notice. Take the appropriate exams, if applicable. Pay the appropriate fee and have a new photo taken. If you are unable to surrender your current driver's license or ID card, you must present proof of signature. If you need to change your address, you must present 1 residency document if you hold a standard driver's license or ID card and 2 residency documents if you hold a real ID. If you do not have your current driver's license or ID card or you need to make changes, you must present documentation of the following: proof of date of birth, Social Security number, proof of residency if you are requesting an address change to appear on the document, 2 documents if applying for real ID and 1 document if applying for standard issued, and proof of written signature. If you are renewing a real ID compliant driver's license or ID card and are not a U.S. citizen, you must present current documentation of lawful status. Upon payment and successful completion of any required testing, the Secretary of State will issue a temporary, secure paper driver's license/ID card, which is valid for 90 days. After a review and verification of documents, a permanent driver's license or ID card will be printed at a centralized location and mailed to you, usually within 15 business days, to the address provided by you at the driver services facility. Driver's license and or ID cards will not be delivered by the post office if there is a forwarding order or any type of hold on mail service for the address you provided. If you do not receive the permanent driver's license or identification card after 15 business days of visiting a facility, you can check the status at ilsos.gov or call 217-782-7044. Driver's license/identification card pre-registration. You may pre-register prior to visiting a Secretary of State facility to renew your Illinois driver's license or identification card or to obtain a corrected driver's license or identification card. This pre-registration process does not guarantee the issuance of an Illinois driver's license or identification card unless you successfully complete all applicable tests and verification processes. Safe Driver Renewal. The Safe Driver Renewal Program enables certain drivers with a clean driving record to renew their driver's licenses from home and visit a driver services facility only once every 8 years. An eligible driver will receive a notice in the mail detailing how to complete the renewal process online, by phone, or by mail. To be eligible for Safe Driver Renewal, a driver must be ages 22 to 74. Not hold a commercial driver's license, CDL, or school bus driver permit. Have no traffic infractions, sanctions, crash reports or medical report review requirements, and have Social Security information verified through the Social Security Online Verification System. Note: Real ID compliant applicants who are not U.S. citizens are not eligible for Safe Driver Renewal. Penalties for driver's license/ID card fraud. Persons are subject to arrest, possible imprisonment of up to 5 years, and a 12-month suspension or revocation of their driving privileges for the following offenses: signing a driver's license/ID card application that includes false information, presenting false identification for the purposes of obtaining a driver's license/ID card, using a fictitious or unlawfully altered driver's license/permit, presenting another person's driver's license/ID card as their own, allowing another person to knowingly use identification documents to apply for a driver's license/ID card using their name. Medical report. When applying for a driver's license, you will be asked about any physical or mental conditions that may potentially impair your safe operation of a motor vehicle or any medications, prescribed or over-the-counter, drugs or alcohol that may impair your driving ability. In certain instances, you must provide a medical report completed by a licensed physician verifying your medical ability to safely operate a motor vehicle. The report must be presented to the driver services facility personnel within 90 days from the date the physician signs it. The form is available at any driver services facility or at ilsos.gov. If you develop a medical condition that is likely to cause a loss of consciousness or any loss of ability to operate a vehicle safely, you must notify the Secretary of State's office within 10 days of becoming aware of the condition. Failure to do so may lead to cancellation of your driver's license and driving privileges. Driving records/abstracts. The Secretary of State keeps records of the traffic violations and crashes you accumulate while licensed in Illinois. If you are convicted of a traffic violation while driving in another state, the offense will be included on your record. If you are not a resident of this state and are convicted of a traffic violation in Illinois where immediate action is required, a record will be established for you in Illinois and the traffic violation also will be reported to your home state. You may purchase a copy of your driving record online at ilsos.gov or at select driver services facilities. To locate a facility, visit ilsos.gov and click on Facility Finder. Driving records/abstracts also may be obtained by submitting a written request to Secretary of State, Abstract Unit, 2701, South Dirksen Parkway, Springfield, Illinois, 62723. The request must include your full name, date of birth, and driver's license number, along with the appropriate fee. The person requesting the driving record must provide proper identification. Non-driving programs related to the driver's license. The Secretary of State's office is required to ask certain non-driving related questions during the driver's license/ID card application process. Among these are Illinois Organ/Tissue Donor Registry. Applicants age 16 and older will be asked to join the registry. More information on the organ donor program is available by visiting www.lifegosen.com or calling 800-210-2106. Veteran designation. A veteran designation may be placed on the face of an Illinois driver's license/ID card at the request of the card applicant. At the time of application, the applicant must provide proof of an honorable discharge from any branch of the U.S. military or retirement from the U.S. military or show service as a reservist or member of the National Guard. More information is available by visiting ilsos.gov or calling the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs at 800-437-9824. Voter registration. A person applying for a standard driver's license/ID card will be informed if he/she is currently registered to vote and if so, at what address. If he/she is not registered, the person will be asked if he/she wishes to register to vote or to update his/her voter registration address. The application will be electronically transmitted to the Illinois State Board of Elections. A person applying for a Real ID-compliant driver's license/ID card and who has provided proof of U.S. citizenship will be advised that his/her driver's license/ID card application will also serve as an application to register to vote, and the information will be electronically transmitted to the Illinois State Board of Elections, unless the applicant opts out of voter registration. The Board of Elections will forward voter registration applications to the appropriate local election authority. A temporary visitor's driver's license applicant is not eligible to register to vote. Selective service. Federal law requires all males ages 18 to 25 to register with the Selective Service System. The signature on the driver's license/ID card application of any qualifying male certifies that he has registered or, if not already registered, authorizes the Secretary of State's office to submit his information to the Selective Service System for registration. Emergency Contact Database. Illinois driver's license/ID card holders may register with the Illinois Emergency Contact Database. The program allows a person to provide emergency contact information for law enforcement or emergency responders in the event of a crash or emergency situation. Individuals registering may also provide information concerning disabilities or special medical needs. More information is available by visiting ilsos.gov. Driver's license/state ID card fees ***. The cost for real ID compliant DL/ID documents and standard issued documents is the same. Driver's license/permit. Instruction permit, $20. Driver's license, ages 18 to 20, $5. Driver's license, ages 21 to 68, $30. Driver's license, ages 69 to 80, $5. Driver's license, ages 81 to 86, $2. Driver's license, ages 87 and older, free. Temporary visitor driver's license, $30. New classification added, not at time of renewal, except CDL, $5. School bus permit, $4. Note: in addition to the regular driver's license fee, an applicant will pay an additional $5 fee to add/renew an M or L motorcycle classification. State ID card. State ID card, under age 18, $5. State ID card, ages 18 to 64, $20. State ID card, ages 65 and older, persons with disabilities, free. Duplicate/corrected driver's license/permit. Duplicate/corrected driver's license/permit, $5. Duplicate/corrected driver's license/permit, ages 81 to 86, $2. Duplicate/corrected driver's license/permit, ages 87 and older, free. Duplicate/corrected temporary, 90-day, driver's license, $5. Duplicate/corrected temporary visitor driver's license, $5. Duplicate driver's license/permit, under age 60, license was stolen, full police report required, free. Duplicate driver's license/permit, ages 60 and older, license was lost/stolen, free. Duplicate/corrected state ID card. Duplicate temporary, 90-day, state ID card, $5. Duplicate state ID card, under age 18, $5. Duplicate state ID card, ages 18 to 64, $20. Duplicate state ID card was stolen, full police report required, free. Duplicate state ID card, ages 60 and older, ID card was lost/stolen, free. Corrected temporary, 90-day, state ID card, $5. Corrected state ID card, under age 18, $5. Corrected state ID card, ages 18 to 64, $10. Corrected state ID card, ages 65 and older, free. Active members of the armed services, also spouses/children residing at home. Duplicate license/permit/state ID card, free. Fees are subject to legislative change. For up-to-date fee information, visit ilsos.gov. CDL fees are available in the Commercial Driver's License Study Guide. For more information on temporary visitor driver's license fees, please refer to the Temporary Visitor Driver's License Quick Guide available at ilsos.gov. Expanded online services. The Secretary of State has expanded online services for the public by allowing access to information by visiting ilsos.gov. Some of these services include: renewing a valid driver's license for qualifying drivers, renewing a valid ID card for those ages 22 to 64, seniors 65 and older have free, non-expiring IDs. Obtaining a driver record abstract. Renewing a license plate sticker. Filing business services documents, such as incorporations and annual reports, and customers with issues involving administrative hearings may contact admin hearings at ilsos.gov. Chapter 2, Driver's License Exams. When applying for a driver's license, you may be required to complete a vision screening, as well as written and driving exams. A vision screening and a written test are required for the issuance or renewal of all permits. You are allowed 3 attempts to pass each of these exams within 1 year from the date you paid your application fee. If you have a traffic crash or other moving violation on your driving record, you may be required to take the written and/or driving exams. Cheating and bribery. During the written exam, applicants will be warned if they are observed doing something that could be considered suspicious. This could be, but is not limited to, an open book within the applicant's field of vision, looking around, or checking a cell phone or other wireless device while taking the exam. Any applicant found cheating will fail the exam and be prohibited from retaking it for 30 days. Taking any part of the driver's license exam for another person is a criminal offense punishable by a fine and a mandatory minimum 7 days in jail. The Secretary of State's office may deny the issuance of a driver's license and/or instruction permit to any person who attempts to influence any act related to the issuance of the document. This includes attempting to bribe or influence an employee of the Secretary of State's office, the owner of a commercial driver school, or any individual authorized to give driving instructions or administer any part of a driver's license examination. Vision screening. All driver's license applicants must have a vision screening or submit a vision specialist report completed by a licensed optometrist, ophthalmologist, or physician dated within 6 months of a facility visit. This form is available at any local driver services facility or at ilsos.gov. Vision requirements include minimum visual acuity of 20/40 with or without corrective lenses. A driver with acuity between 20/41 and 20/70 is limited to daylight driving only. At least 140-degree peripheral vision, the ability to see to the side, with or without corrective lenses. If you wear glasses or contact lenses, a restriction will be noted on your license, requiring you wear glasses or contact lenses when operating a vehicle. If you wear telescopic lenses, you must meet special requirements and undergo additional vision testing to receive a license. Written exam. Every driver must take a written exam every 8 years, except a driver having no traffic convictions. The basic written exam requires you to identify traffic signs by shape, color, or symbol. Identify signals and pavement markings. Answer multiple choice and true or false questions about traffic laws, safety rules, crash prevention, and vehicle equipment. The exam requirements for motorcycles, trucks, and buses vary. You should consult the appropriate operator's manual for these types of vehicles. Driving exam. New drivers are required to take a driving exam. Drivers ages 75 and older and any driver turning 75 or older who are renewing their driver's license must take a driving exam. If the applicant is age 21 or older and driving for the first time, enrollment in driving school for adults is suggested prior to applying for a driver's license. To take a driving exam, the vehicle used must be properly licensed and have the required equipment listed on page 91. Be in the same weight class as sought on the driver's license application. Be properly insured. Proof of insurance must be provided at the time of the exam. Display valid front and rear Illinois license plates and a valid registration sticker. If the vehicle is registered outside of Illinois, it must meet the registration requirements of the respective state. Be driven to the facility by a driver with a valid driver's license/permit. Only the examiner is allowed to be with you during the driving exam. Children or pets are not allowed in the vehicle during the exam and cannot be left unattended in the facility while the driving exam is underway. If you bring children or pets with you, you must bring someone to take care of them. During the driving exam, you and the examiner must wear safety belts, as required by law. You will automatically fail the exam if you commit any traffic violation or any dangerous action while taking the exam. You are graded on your ability to perform several driving tasks and maneuvers, including the following: checking the vehicle controls, including the parking brake and mirrors. You must make all adjustments to seats, safety belts, mirrors, and other equipment before the vehicle is put into motion. Backing the vehicle approximately 50 feet at a slow speed, straight and smoothly. Turn your head to the right and watch to the rear when performing this maneuver. Performing a turnabout using an alley on the left side of the street. Turn your left signal on before turning into the alley, back the car out of the alley, and stay on your side of the street. Parking uphill on the side of the road. See page 34. Starting uphill from a parked position. See page 34. Parking downhill on the side of the road. See page 34. Starting downhill from a parked position. See page 34. Controlling your vehicle by obeying all traffic signs, controls devices, rights of way, lane markings, and properly using turn signals. Special services. The Secretary of State's office provides the following special services for senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and veterans. Free rules of the road review courses. License plates and parking placards for persons with disabilities. Reduced fee license plate renewal fees for seniors age 65 and older and persons with disabilities who meet income criteria through the Benefit Access Program, formerly known as the Circuit Breaker Program. For more information, individuals should contact the Illinois Department on Aging. Interpreter service for applicants who are deaf or hard of hearing when obtaining or renewing a driver's license. Applicants needing interpreter service should make the request in advance of their visit to the facility by calling 312-814-5683 or 888-261-5238 TTY. Next Talk. Oral examinations, for the written test, can be requested in person at any Secretary of State driver's license facility, Monday through Thursday. The services are provided for applicants who may have a language barrier or any type of reading or learning disability. Chapter 3. Drivers under age 21. In Illinois, most people under age 18 learn to drive in high school or at a commercial driver training school licensed by the Secretary of State's office. Approved driver education courses include at least 30 hours of classroom study and 6 hours of behind-the-wheel training in a regular passenger vehicle. Obtaining an instruction permit. If you are age 15 to 17, you may receive an instruction permit with acceptable proof from the authorized driver education provider. The document must state you are enrolled in an approved driver education course and/or will start attending an approved driver education course within the next 30 days. The instruction permit is valid for 24 months and must be held for at least 9 consecutive months prior to obtaining a driver's license if you are age 15 to 17. If you are age 17 and 3 months or older, you may apply for an instruction permit without taking a driver education course. When applying for an instruction permit, you must pass the vision and written exams for the license classification you are seeking. The test results are valid until the expiration of the permit. Your instruction permit allows you to drive during the behind-the-wheel portion of a driver education course with an adult instructor. It also allows you to drive with a parent, legal guardian, or responsible adult who is age 21 or older, has a valid license, and has at least 1 year of driving experience. This individual must sit in the front passenger seat adjacent to you. After you have successfully completed the driver education course, you may continue practice driving with an instruction permit under the direct supervision of a responsible adult, as outlined above. Illinois law requires drivers under age 18 to have at least 50 hours of behind-the-wheel supervised driving, including 10 hours of nighttime supervised driving, in addition to the driver education training, before being eligible to obtain a driver's license at age 16. A driving log to track the supervised practice hours is available at ilsos.gov or in the Parent Teen Driving Guide. Applying for an Illinois driver's license. Driver's licenses for persons under age 21 are printed vertically with distinct features. To apply for a driver's license before age 18, you must bring the following documents to the driver services facility. Instruction permit. Acceptable forms of identification, see page 104. Affidavit/consent for minor to drive, if applicable. Cooperative driver testing certificate, if applicable, and 50-hour driving log with proper signature. If you are applying for a Real ID compliant driver's license, you must also bring all the required identity documents. See page 6 for section on first-time Real ID compliant applicants. The Secretary of State must have received notification of your successful completion of driver education, and the notation must appear on your driving record before a driver's license is issued. Students whose birthdays fall on certain spot check dates are required to pass a driving exam administered at a driver services facility even though they may have taken and passed a road test conducted by their driver education instructor. If you receive your driver's license prior to the expiration of the instruction permit, you will not be required to pay an additional fee when applying for your driver's license. Driver education and the Cooperative Driver Testing Program. High school students who successfully complete an accredited driver education course of classroom and behind-the-wheel instruction with a combined grade of A or B may be exempt from taking a Secretary of State-administered driving exam when applying for a driver's license. School districts are encouraged to participate in this voluntary program by contacting the Secretary of State's office. More information on the requirements for this program is available at ilsos.gov. Upon successful completion of the classroom and behind-the-wheel portions of driver education through a local high school, the Secretary of State's office will receive notification and add a notation to the individual's driver's license record. After successful completion of a driving exam, the prospective driver may be issued a cooperative driver testing certificate, which must be signed by the driver education instructor and the student's parent/legal guardian. The certificate expires on the same day as the student's instruction permit and will not be extended. It must be presented at the driver services facility when applying for the driver's license. Students under age 18 who drop out of high school cannot have the notation indicating completion placed on their driver's license record unless the instructor has written verification of enrollment in a GED or alternative program. The applicant has a GED. Prior to dropping out, they received passing grades in at least 8 courses in the previous 2 semesters, or they have written consent from their parents or legal guardian and the regional superintendent. The local superintendent or chief school administrator may waive conditions deemed in the best interest of the student or dropout. Successful completion of driver education may be verified by contacting the Illinois State Board of Education at 217-782-4322. First-time drivers, age 18 to 20. If you are age 18, 19, or 20, and have not previously been licensed or completed an approved driver education program, you must complete a 6-hour adult driver education course. The adult driver education course can only be taught by providers certified by the Secretary of State's office. Courses may be taught in a classroom setting or online, depending on the certification of a provider. Completion of an adult driver education course from a provider not certified by the Secretary of State's office will not be accepted. More information on the adult driver education course is available at ilsos.gov. Graduated Driver Licensing Program. Illinois' Graduated Driver Licensing (GDL) program requires drivers ages 15 to 20 to work their way toward full driving privileges. There are 3 progressive stages, usually beginning at age 15, when most young drivers obtain their learner's permit. Young drivers must earn the right to move from one phase to the next, based on their driving behavior. Each phase of the GDL process sets forth specific guidelines for a teen driver. Permit phase, drivers age 15. Nighttime driving restrictions, Sunday through Thursday, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., Friday through Saturday, 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., local curfews may differ. Permit must be held for a minimum of 9 months. Must practice driving a minimum of 50 hours, including 10 hours at night, supervised by a parent or adult age 21 or older with a valid driver's license. Must not acquire any driving infractions, underage alcohol convictions, or court supervisions during the 9-month permit phase. Number of passengers is limited to 1 in the front seat and the number of safety belts in the back seat. Any wireless/cell phone use while driving, including a hands-free device, is prohibited for a driver under age 19, except in the case of an emergency to contact a law enforcement agency, healthcare provider, or emergency services agency. Permit is valid for up to 2 years. Initial licensing phase, drivers ages 16 to 17. Nighttime driving restrictions, Sunday through Thursday, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., Friday through Saturday, 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Local curfews may differ. Must maintain a conviction-free driving record for 6 months prior to turning 18. A traffic conviction during the initial licensing phase may extend restrictions beyond age 18. For the first 12 months of licensing, or until the driver turns 18, whichever occurs first, the number of passengers is limited to one person under age 20, unless the passengers is a sibling, step-sibling, child, or stepchild of the driver. After this period, the number of passengers is limited to one in the front seat and the number of safety belts in the back seat. Any wireless/cell phone use while driving, including a hands-free device, is prohibited for a driver under age 19, except in the case of an emergency to contact a law enforcement agency, healthcare provider, or emergency services agency. Full licensing phase, drivers ages 18 to 20. No age-related restrictions apply except in cases where a driver fails to move from the initial licensing phase to the full licensing phase. Any wireless/cell phone use while driving, including a hands-free device, is prohibited for a driver under age 19, except in the case of an emergency to contact a law enforcement agency, healthcare provider, or emergency services agency. For more information about the GDL program, please refer to the Illinois Graduated Driver Licensing Program brochure at ilsos.gov. Brochures are available at any local driver services facility, high school driver education program, or commercial driving school program. Parental responsibility. Parental consent. A driver age 16 to 17 must have the written consent of a parent/legal guardian to obtain a driver's license. The parent/legal guardian who gave initial consent may cancel the minor's license at any time, for any reason, until the driver turns 18 by contacting the Secretary of State's office. Driving privileges will not be reinstated until the parent/legal guardian who withdrew consent, once again, provides consent or until the driver turns 18, whichever occurs first. The teen driver must reapply for a driver's license, take all applicable exams, and pay the appropriate fees. Parental access to teen's driving record. The parent/legal guardian of a person under age 18 who holds an instruction permit or graduated driver's license may access their minor's driving record at no cost by visiting ilsos.gov and using a personal identification number, PIN, provided by the Secretary of State's office. Instruction permit completion check. Students who are under age 21 and who hold a valid instruction permit, as well as their parent/legal guardian, may go to the Secretary of State's website using the instruction permit number to determine if their high school driver's education completion/certification has been added to their driving record. Parent-Teen Driving Guide. A Parent-Teen Driving Guide is available to assist parents in teaching their teen driver the skills she needs to know before starting to drive on his/her own. The guide is available at ilsos.gov. Parent-Teen Driving Contract. The Secretary of State's office provides a voluntary parent-teen driving contract that establishes parameters and boundaries between parents and a teenager to enable a young driver to acquire safe driving habits and skills. The contract is available in the Parent-Teen Driving Guide or at ilsos.gov. Related laws. Court supervision for moving violations. A driver under age 21 is limited to one court supervision for serious traffic offenses. To obtain court supervision for a traffic violation, a driver must attend traffic safety school. If she is under age 18, she must appear in court with a parent/legal guardian. If receiving court supervision for certain alcohol-related violations, a driver under age 18 will be denied a full graduated driver's license for 9 months. Loss of driving privileges for moving violations. A driver under age 21 who is convicted of 2 or more moving violations within a 24-month period will have his/her driver's license suspended for a minimum of 30 days. The length of the suspension varies according to the seriousness of the traffic offenses. A driver may be required to complete a driver remedial education course as part of reinstatement of driving privileges. This information will be indicated on the suspension notice. A suspended driver may be, but is not always, eligible for a restricted driving permit during the suspension period. Driver's license suspension for alcohol consumption. A person under age 21 who receives court supervision for possession, consumption, purchase, or receipt of alcohol will receive a 3-month driver's license suspension if the offense occurred while the person was an occupant of a motor vehicle. A conviction will result in a minimum 6-month suspension of driving privileges if the offense occurred while the person was an occupant of a motor vehicle. Driver's license suspension for nighttime driving restriction violation. Persons under age 18 who violate the nighttime driving restriction during the permit phase or the initial licensing phase listed on page May 18 have their driving privileges suspended. Crash involving bodily harm or death. Persons under age 18 who are charged with an offense due to a crash where a passenger was seriously injured or killed may be denied issuance/renewal of their driver's license. Alcohol need not play a factor in the crash. Non-adjudicated traffic citation. Persons under age 18 who have been issued a traffic citation that has not been fully adjudicated by the courts may be denied issuance of their driver's license. Chapter 4. Traffic Laws. Traffic laws protect all who share Illinois streets and highways. It is important to obey the orders of police officers, firefighters, highway authority officials, or uniformed adult school crossing guards who are directing traffic or performing their official duties. Proper action when stopped by law enforcement. Slow down, activate turn signal, and safely pull over onto the right-hand shoulder of the roadway. If there is no shoulder or it is too narrow to pull over, find the next safest location and pull over. Do not slam on the brakes or stop in the lane of traffic. Do not stop your vehicle on bridges, curves, next to guardrails, concrete walls, medians, or any place where it would be difficult for other vehicles to pass. A vehicle should not be stopped too close to the solid white line, as it may get struck by oncoming traffic. Stay in the vehicle with both hands clearly in sight on the steering wheel. Keep your hands on the steering wheel until the police officer instructs you otherwise or the traffic stop is complete. Be prepared for the officer to approach from either the driver or passenger side of your vehicle. Do not exit your vehicle unless asked to do so. Getting out of the vehicle can be perceived as aggressive behavior and a threat to the police officer's safety. Comply with the officer's request to see a driver's license and proof of insurance. If these items are in the glove box or under the seat, or if the proof of insurance is stored for display on a cell phone, inform the police officer of that fact and then follow the officer's directions before retrieving the information. Vehicle operators are required to have a valid driver's license, registration, and insurance in order to operate a vehicle. If you cannot identify an unmarked police vehicle and/or the driver as law enforcement, drive slowly and carefully below the speed limit and either 1. Pull over at a well-lit, populated location, 2. Drive carefully to the nearest police station and attempt to attract the attention of a uniformed officer, or 3. Call 911. Activate your vehicle's hazard lights as a helpful way to communicate intentions with the police officer. If you are being stopped at night, it is acceptable to turn on your interior light of the vehicle. Be aware that you may have committed a minor traffic violation without realizing it. There also may be a problem with your vehicle of which you are unaware, or the vehicle may be similar to one used in a serious crime. Many officers will not provide specific reasons for the stop until they have obtained your driver's license, vehicle registration, and insurance card. If the traffic stop results in a ticket or arrest, you should not debate the reason for the stop or argue with the police officer. Should not refuse to sign a ticket if issued. A traffic ticket requires the driver's signature. Signing a ticket is not an admission of the driver's guilt, only an acknowledgement of receiving the ticket. Should not be uncooperative with law enforcement at the scene. If you are suspected of drunk driving, refusal to submit to breath, urine, blood, or performance tests can result in the loss of driving privileges. Should not argue about the ticket at the time of issuance. If you believe an offense was not committed or the ticket was issued unfairly, you will have the opportunity to present the case in traffic court. Should not resist arrest if taken into custody by the police. You are to be treated with dignity and respect by law enforcement officers. If you believe that an officer has acted inappropriately during a traffic stop or other encounter, you should report the conduct as soon as possible to the officer's superiors. Officers are required to provide their names and badge numbers upon request. Written complaints can be filed with the agency's Internal Affairs Division or Civilian Complaint Board. Regardless of what action is taken, police officers are legally required to document all traffic stops, which includes obtaining the driver's name and address for data collection purposes. Distracted driving. Illinois law prohibits the use of handheld cell phones, texting, or using other electronic communications while operating a motor vehicle. Hands-free devices or Bluetooth technology is allowed for persons aged 19 and older. Illinois law prohibits the use of headsets while driving. Headsets are defined as any device, other than a hearing aid, that allows a person to hear or receive electronic communications. The use of a single-sided headset or earpiece with a wireless/cell phone device is permitted while driving. Motorcycle, motor-driven cycle, and moped operators may use intercom helmets which permit a driver and/or passengers to speak to one another. Using hands-free technology such as a headset or voice-activated controls is considered a distraction while driving and can be dangerous. If you must make a phone call, even with hands-free technology, it is recommended that you pull off to the side of the road before making the call. Using a cell phone while holding the device and utilizing the speakerphone is not considered hands-free and is a violation of Illinois law. Watching or streaming a live video on a cell phone is also a violation of Illinois law. The only time you can use a cell phone that is not hands-free is to report an emergency situation, while parked on the shoulder of a roadway, while stopped due to normal traffic being obstructed and the vehicle is in neutral or park. If you are in a crash with a motor vehicle, bicyclist, pedestrian, or any road user caused by distracted driving, you may face criminal penalties and incarceration. Safety belt law. Illinois law requires all drivers and passengers, front and back seat, age 8 and older to wear safety belts even if the vehicle is equipped with airbags. Passengers under age 8 must be secured in an appropriate child restraint system as covered by the Child Passenger Protection Act. If a passenger has a disability or medical condition that makes him/her unable to secure his/her own safety belt, the driver is responsible for securing and adjusting the safety belt for that passenger. It is the responsibility of the driver to ensure all passengers obey the safety belt law and the Child Passenger Protection Act. Safety belt fitting. The lap belt should be worn across the hip bones and should never be positioned across the stomach or soft part of the abdomen. The shoulder strap should be as snug as possible but still allow the driver to reach important controls. Adjust the shoulder strap so it is comfortable and does not cross the body at or near the neck or face. The shoulder strap of the seatbelt should never be placed behind the back or under the arm. Airbag safety. Airbags are designed to provide supplemental protection in combination with safety belts. Airbags are life-saving devices, but special precautions should be taken when driving in airbag-equipped vehicles. A distance of 10 to 12 inches between the driver and the airbag is desirable, especially for short, elderly, or pregnant drivers. Passengers should position their seats as far back as possible, tilting the seat back slightly if necessary. Children riding in the front seat can be seriously injured or killed when an airbag deploys in a crash. It is recommended that children ages 12 and younger be properly secured in the back seat. If children under age 8 must ride in the front passenger seat with an active airbag, they should be in a properly installed, appropriate child safety seat with the seat as far back as possible. Rear-facing child safety seats should never be installed in front of an active airbag. Some vehicles, such as pickup trucks, have the option to turn off the passenger side front airbag. Child Passenger Protection Act. The Child Passenger Protection Act requires all children under age 8 be properly secured in an appropriate child safety restraint system. This includes the use of booster seats, which must only be used with a lap/shoulder safety belt. If the back seat of the vehicle is not equipped with lap/shoulder type safety belts, a child weighing more than 40 pounds may be transported in the back seat without a booster seat, secured with a lap belt only. Effective January 1, 2019, Illinois law requires children to be properly secured in a rear-facing child restraint system until age 2 unless they weigh more than 40 pounds or are more than 40 inches tall. For more information on child safety seat recalls or a safety seat inspected for proper installation, visit www.safercar.gov. Speed limits. Speeding is one of the leading contributors to vehicle crashes, deaths, and serious injuries on roadways. Individuals may drive at the maximum allowable speed only under safe conditions. For safety purposes, a minimum speed limit may be posted along certain roadways. When minimum limits are not posted, a driver should not drive so slow as to create an interference with the normal movement of traffic. The following speed limits apply, unless otherwise posted. Interstates and tollways, 70 miles per hour. Highways with 4 lanes, 65 miles per hour. Other highways and rural areas, 55 miles per hour. City/town areas, 30 miles per hour. Alleys, 15 miles per hour. School zones, 20 miles per hour, on school days between 6:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. when children are present and signs are posted. Local municipalities have the discretion to post speed limits different from those listed. A driver must take care to slow down when approaching and crossing an intersection, going around a curve, approaching the top of a hill, or traveling on a narrow and winding roadway. A driver must be aware that there may always be dangers present due to pedestrians, bicyclists, traffic, weather, mechanical problems, or road conditions. Construction zones, emergency vehicles, school zones, and funeral processions. Construction zones. When approaching or entering a highway construction or maintenance area, also known as work zones, Illinois law requires motorists to slow down, discontinue wireless/cell phone use, unless using a hands-free device that may include the use of a single-sided headset, yield to any authorized vehicles or workers in the area, change to a lane away from the workers when possible, and proceed with caution. Motorists must obey the posted construction zone speed limit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, regardless of the presence of workers. Standard speed limits may be reduced due to the presence of workers or because normal driving conditions do not exist in a construction zone. There may be narrow lanes, drop-offs between lanes or at the edge of the pavement, lane closures, construction equipment, or obstructions near open lanes of traffic. The speed limit may be further reduced when workers are present. Emergency/maintenance vehicles. When approaching a stationary, non-moving, emergency/maintenance vehicle using visual signals, Illinois law requires motorists to yield, change to a lane away from the emergency workers when possible, and proceed with caution. If a lane change is not possible, reduce speed and proceed with caution. Illinois law prohibits photography and the use of wireless/cell phones within 500 feet of an emergency scene, except in certain circumstances. When being approached by an emergency vehicle using audible and visual signals, lights and/or sirens, Illinois law requires motorists to immediately pull to the right side of the road and allow the emergency vehicle to pass. In some cases, a complete stop may be necessary to allow the emergency vehicle to pass. If stopped at an intersection with two-way traffic, remain stopped until the emergency vehicle passes through the intersection. A driver is prohibited from driving over fire hoses, unless permitted by a fire official in command of the scene. School zones. When approaching a marked school zone between 6:30 a.m. and 4 p.m., on days when school is in operation and children are present, a driver must discontinue wireless/cell phone use, unless using a hands-free device that may include the use of a single-sided headset, reduce speed to 20 miles per hour, and stop and yield the right-of-way to any children or adults in the crosswalk area. Funeral processions. Motorists encountering a funeral procession must yield the right-of-way to all vehicles in the procession. Motorists in a funeral procession should have their headlights and hazard lights turned on. Motorists should not drive between vehicles in an organized funeral procession, except when directed to do so by a law enforcement officer. Vehicles are prohibited from joining a funeral procession for the purpose of securing the right-of-way or attempting to pass any vehicle in an organized funeral procession, except where a passing lane has been specifically provided. Local municipalities may impound a vehicle that interferes with a funeral procession due to reckless driving. Right-of-way. A driver must yield the right-of-way to other drivers, bicyclists, or pedestrians. When making a right turn on a red light after a complete stop. After coming to a complete stop at an intersection where there is a stop sign or flashing red signal. If there is no stop line, stop before the crosswalk. If there is no crosswalk or stop line, stop at a place where all approaching traffic can be seen. When making a left turn on a red light after a stop from a one-way street to another one-way street with traffic moving to the left. When more than one driver reaches a four-way stop intersection. The first driver to stop should be the first to go. When two vehicles on different roadways arrive at a four-way stop intersection at the same time, the vehicle on the left should yield to the vehicle on the right. When entering an intersection with a flashing yellow arrow. When two vehicles on different roadways reach an uncontrolled intersection at the same time. The vehicle on the left should yield to the vehicle on the right. When making a left-hand turn into oncoming traffic. If you enter an intersection while the light is green, you may finish the turn even though the light turns red. When approaching a merge sign with through traffic, you must increase or decrease speed to avoid a crash. When approaching a yield sign, you should slow down or stop to avoid a crash. Even after the light turns green when there are vehicles in the intersection. When emerging from an alley, building, private road, or driveway after coming to a complete stop. To cross traffic when on the terminating highway of a T intersection with no traffic control signs or signals. When approaching emergency vehicles using audible and visual signals. A driver may not enter an intersection or drive within a marked crosswalk unless there is enough space to allow passage of other vehicles and/or pedestrians. Drive onto a railroad crossing. Pedestrian right-of-way. A driver must come to a complete stop and yield. When a pedestrian is in a marked crosswalk. On school days, when children are in close proximity to a school zone crosswalk. A driver must yield. When a pedestrian is in an unmarked crosswalk on the driver's side of the roadway and there are no traffic control signals. When making a turn at any intersection. When making a lawful turn on a red light after coming to a complete stop. After coming to a complete stop at a stop sign or flashing red signal at an intersection. When a pedestrian enters a crosswalk before the traffic light changes. When a pedestrian is walking with a green light, to a walking person symbol or to a walk signal. When a pedestrian is leaving or entering a street or highway from an alley, building, private road, or driveway. When a pedestrian is entering an intersection with a flashing yellow arrow. To a person with disabilities, including physical, hearing, and visual disabilities. Passing. Drivers must use caution when passing another vehicle. On a two-lane highway, the left lane should be clearly visible and free of oncoming traffic for a distance great enough to permit passing. Do not turn back into the right-hand lane until the entire vehicle they have just passed is visible in the rearview mirror. You must return to your lane before getting within 200 feet of an oncoming vehicle. The driver of the vehicle you are passing must not increase speed until you have completed your maneuver. It is against the law to flash turn signals as a courtesy or due pass signal to other drivers. Driving off the pavement or main traveled part of the road is not allowed when passing another vehicle on the right or the left. When passing a pedestrian who is walking on the road or shoulder of the roadway, keep a minimum of 3 feet between your vehicle and the pedestrian. When passing a bicyclist on any road, including a bicyclist on the road shoulder or in a dedicated bicycle lane, keep a minimum distance of 3 feet from the bicyclist. You may pass on the right, but not on the shoulder except for authorized vehicles. When you have enough room on a two-lane roadway, and when the vehicle you are passing is making or is about to make a left turn. On a one-way street or on a roadway with 2 or more clear lanes in each direction. At an intersection widened for this purpose. Passing on a two-way roadway is not allowed. In an area marked for no passing by a solid yellow line or with a do not pass or no passing zone sign. On a hill or curve where it is not possible to see oncoming vehicles. Within 100 feet of an intersection or railroad crossing. When the view is blocked within 100 feet of any bridge, viaduct, or tunnel. When a vehicle has stopped at a crosswalk or intersection to allow a pedestrian to cross. In a construction zone. All construction zones in Illinois are no passing zones. In any school zone located in an unincorporated area. In any posted school zone in an incorporated area. When a school bus has stopped to load or discharge passengers. Lane usage. You must drive on the right half of the roadway except when passing another vehicle moving in the same direction on a two-lane highway, interstate highway, or controlled freeway. When a blockage makes it necessary to drive to the left of the center line. You may drive on the left after yielding to oncoming traffic. On a roadway divided into 3 marked lanes for traffic. On a one-way street with 2 or more lanes of traffic. When directed to drive in a left lane by traffic control signs and signals on a multi-lane, two-way highway. When crossing the center line to make a left turn into or from an alley, private road, or driveway. When approaching a stationary emergency vehicle or disabled vehicle on the side of the highway. When roadway construction is located in or in close proximity to the right lane or right shoulder. When driving on an interstate highway or full-access controlled freeway, a driver may not drive in the left lanes, except when passing another vehicle. Exceptions include when no other vehicle is directly behind the vehicle being driven in the left lane. Traffic conditions/congestion make it impractical to drive in the right lane. Weather conditions make it necessary to use the left lanes. There is an obstruction or hazard in the right lane. The driver is changing lanes to yield to emergency or construction vehicles. Additional rules apply in certain situations. Slow vehicles must use the right-hand lane except when passing or making a left turn. Weaving from lane to move faster than the traffic flow is unlawful. Traffic must travel in the direction of posted one-way streets or roadways. This rule does not apply to police and emergency vehicles using sirens or flashing lights. It is unlawful to drive across median strips such as unpaved strips or median barriers. A driver may turn left across a paved dividing space unless it is not permitted by a traffic control sign or signal. A driver must not enter or leave any controlled access roadway except at a posted entrance or exit. A driver may not back up on any shoulder or roadway of any controlled access roadway. A driver may not back up on other roadways unless it is done safely and does not interfere with other vehicles. A driver or passenger may not open doors on the side of a vehicle on which traffic is moving unless it can be done safely and without interfering with vehicle or bicycle traffic. The door may remain open only long enough to load or unload passengers. Drivers should consider using their right hand to open the vehicle door, as this gives them the opportunity to turn and check for oncoming vehicles and bicyclists. This is more commonly known as the Dutch reach. Signaling. In a business or residential area, you must give a continuous turn signal for at least 100 feet before turning. In other areas, the signal must be given at least 200 feet before turning. A driver may signal in 2 ways. Electrical turn signals apply the right turn signal for a right turn and the left turn signal for a left turn. Hand and arm signals should give the signal using the left arm. For a right turn, the hand and arm are extended straight up. For a left turn, the hand and arm are extended straight out to the left. To slow down or stop, the hand and arm are extended down. Turning. Right turns. Give a right turn signal from the proper turning lane. Obey traffic signs and signals. Yield the right of way to pedestrians, emergency vehicles, and other vehicles in the intersection. Check traffic approaching from the left. Follow the general curve of the curb while making the right turn. Stay as close as possible to the curb. Turn into the right-hand lane of the roadway you are entering. Be aware that trucks and buses may need more space to make a right-hand turn. Be aware of any bike lanes and check for bicyclists approaching the intersection. Left turns. Give a left turn signal from the proper turning lane. Obey traffic signs and signals. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians, emergency vehicles, and other vehicles in the intersection. Check all approaching traffic. Point the wheel straight ahead until starting to make the turn. Complete the turn into the lane closest to the intended direction. Changing lanes. When moving your vehicle from the right-hand lane to the left-hand lane, check for traffic behind your vehicle and to the left by turning your head and visually assessing the area. If the area is clear, give the left turn signal and carefully move into the left lane. When moving your vehicle from the left-hand lane to the right-hand lane, check for traffic behind your vehicle and to the right by turning your head and visually assessing the area. If the area is clear, give the right turn signal and carefully move into the right lane. U-turns. You must not turn around on curves and hills unless you can see for at least 500 feet in all directions. Municipalities may prohibit U-turns on some roadways. Hazard signal. Both turn signals may be flashed at the same time to indicate a disabled or parked vehicle. Two-way left turn lane. The two-way left turn lane provides a safe area for cars making left turns at intersections or for cars turning left into or out of a drive located in the middle of the block. Turns and lane changes in construction zones. Pay special attention to signs, barricades, and pavement markings when turning or changing lanes. Rotaries and roundabouts. A rotary or roundabout is an intersection where traffic travels around a central island in a circular, counterclockwise direction. Roundabouts may have more than one lane of traffic. Vehicles entering or exiting a roundabout must yield to all traffic, including pedestrians and bicycles. When you approach a roundabout, slow down. Look for signs and any pavement markings prohibiting certain movements. Enter the roundabout by turning right when safe to do so. Stay in your lane. Use your vehicle's right turn signal to let other drivers know you are exiting the roundabout. Some tips for safely maneuvering in a rotary or roundabout include: look for street and direction signs when approaching and before entering a roundabout. This will help determine which exit to take. These signs should be posted along the roadside before reaching the roundabout. Do not change lanes or take an exit before checking for vehicles that may be continuing through the roundabout. Expect vehicles to be in blind spots where they cannot be seen in rear view or side mirrors. Special stops. School buses. The only time a vehicle is not required to stop for a school bus is when both vehicles are on a 4-lane roadway and the bus is stopped in the opposite direction from which a driver is traveling. Any other time, you must stop before meeting or overtaking, passing, a school bus that is stopped and loading or unloading passengers. This includes any 2-lane roadway, in rural areas and within city limits. Any roadway, highway, or private road. Any parking lot located on school property. A warning will be given by the school bus at least 100 feet, 200 feet in rural areas, in advance of a stop. The bus driver will flash lights on the front and rear of the bus. The school bus stop signal arm will be extended after the school bus has come to a complete stop. When approaching a school bus from the opposite direction, you must come to a complete stop and remain stopped until the stop signal arm is no longer extended and the flashing lights are turned off or the school bus driver signals vehicles to pass. A conviction for passing a stopped school bus with flashing lights and the stop arm extended will result in the suspension of your driver's license. If the owners of the vehicle were not driving when the offense occurred, they must provide the state's attorney's office with the name of the person driving the vehicle, or their vehicle registration will be suspended for 3 months. Railroad crossing. You must yield the right-of-way to any approaching train or railroad equipment. When approaching a railroad crossing, you must stop within 15 to 50 feet if there is a posted stop sign, if the electric signal is flashing, or if the crossing gate is lowered. You also must stop if a flagger issues a signal to stop or a train is approaching and/or gives a warning. You may proceed only after the gate is all the way up, the lights are no longer flashing, or the flagger has signaled traffic to proceed. Visually check all the tracks for any additional oncoming trains or railroad equipment before proceeding. If a railroad crossing has no warning devices or only a crossbuck sign, see page 81 for an example of a crossbuck. Slow down, look in both directions of the track and listen for a train or railroad equipment. If safe to do so, then proceed with caution across the railroad crossing. You may not enter a highway railroad crossing unless there is sufficient space on the other side of the crossing to accommodate your vehicle without obstructing passage of a train or other railroad equipment using the rails. Vehicles required by law to stop at most all railroad crossings are vehicles carrying people for hire, school buses, and vehicles carrying hazardous materials. If your vehicle becomes disabled and is stuck or stalls on railroad tracks, everyone in the vehicle should get out immediately, call 911, and move away from the tracks at a 45-degree angle in the direction of the train. This action keeps everyone safe from the forward-flying debris if the train strikes the vehicle. If possible, the driver or one of the passengers should call the Railroad Emergency Notification System. This number is located on the blue sign affixed to the railroad crossing post near the tracks. The following are important laws and safety tips when approaching a railroad crossing. Drive as though expecting a train on any track at any time. Once a train has passed, always look for a second train on another track before proceeding. Check carefully to make sure there is enough room for a vehicle on the other side of the railroad track. If there is not enough room, do not cross the tracks. If a vehicle has a manual transmission, shift down before reaching the tracks. To avoid stalling, do not change gears while crossing the track. Never race a train. Be prepared to stop when behind vehicles required to stop at railroad crossings. Alleys/driveways. In urban areas, you must come to a complete stop when moving out of an alley, building, private road, or driveway, and before entering the sidewalk area. If there is no sidewalk, stop at a point nearest the street or roadway where there is a view of approaching traffic. After stopping, yield the right-of-way to pedestrians and all vehicles. If you are making a turn from the alley or driveway, use the appropriate turn signal indicating your intended direction. Parking. Hill parking. Anytime you park on a hill, you should put the gear select in park and set the parking/emergency brake if necessary. When starting a vehicle from an uphill or downhill location, release the parking/emergency brake, give the correct signal, check for oncoming traffic, and proceed when it is safe to do so. If you park on a street with curbing and your vehicle is facing downhill, turn the front wheels toward the curb so your vehicle will roll toward the curb. If you park facing uphill and there is a curb, turn the front wheels away from the curb. If you park on a street without curbing, turn the wheels toward the side of the road on which your vehicle is parked. Parallel parking. When parking on streets with two-way traffic, park so the right-hand wheels are parallel to and within 12 inches of the curb. On a one-way street or road, the vehicle should be parked within 12 inches of the right or left curb. Vehicles must be parked in the direction in which traffic is moving. Parking for persons with disabilities. Vehicles displaying license plates or parking placards for persons with disabilities may use spaces reserved for persons with disabilities. The authorized holder of the parking placard or license plates must be present and must enter or exit the vehicle at the time the parking privileges are being used. A striped area on the pavement next to the disabled parking space is part of the reserved space, and vehicles may not use this striped area for parking even if they have a disabled parking placard or disability license plates. Parking for electric vehicles. Some parking areas may have spaces equipped with charging stations for electric vehicles. Only electric vehicles are allowed to park in these designated spaces. Prohibited stopping, standing, or parking. Stopping, standing, or parking is prohibited in specified places. Local stopping, standing, and parking regulations may be posted on signs. There are, however, statewide regulations that are not always indicated by signs. Stopping, standing, or parking is prohibited on the roadway side of any parked vehicle, also known as double parking. On a sidewalk, crosswalk, or within an intersection, between a safety zone and the adjacent curb, in a marked, buffered, or barrel-protected bike lane, beside or to the opposite of any street excavation or obstruction if the vehicle would block traffic, on any bridge, overpass, railroad track, or within a highway tunnel, on any controlled access roadway, one where a vehicle may enter or exit only at certain points, in the area between roadways of a divided highway, including crossovers, on a paved roadway or highway outside business or residential districts when it is practical to stop or park off the roadway. In an emergency, drivers may stop their vehicle and park only if there is a clear view for 200 feet in each direction. The driver should turn on the emergency flashers and make sure there is enough space for other vehicles to pass. At any place where official signs prohibit stopping, standing, or parking, standing or parking a vehicle, whether occupied or not, is prohibited. In front of a public or private driveway, within 15 feet of a fire hydrant, within 20 feet of a fire station driveway or crosswalk at an intersection, within 30 feet of a stop sign, yield sign, or traffic control signal. Parking a vehicle, whether occupied or not, is prohibited. Within 50 feet of the nearest rail of a railroad crossing, on a highway between sunset and sunrise unless the front and rear parking lights are displayed or the vehicle is within an urban district where lights are not required. Headlights on parked vehicles must be dimmed. Additional laws. Motorists should familiarize themselves with local laws as they may vary between municipalities. Illinois law states that you may not cause an object to fall from an overpass or other elevated location in the direction of a moving vehicle with the intent to strike it. Drive on a sidewalk except when it is part of a driveway. Overload a vehicle with passengers or freight so that the driver's view is obstructed. There should be no more people in the front and rear seats as there are seat belts. Ride in a house trailer while it is being moved on a street or highway. Operate or permit to be operated any sound system, radio, tape player, or disc player at a volume that can be heard 75 feet or more from a vehicle being driven on a highway. Chapter 5: Sharing the Road. The driver of a passenger vehicle must share the road with many types of vehicles and pedestrians. Pedestrians. Both drivers and pedestrians are responsible for traffic safety. A driver should always be prepared to yield the right-of-way and should not drive unnecessarily close to pedestrians. When crossing at any place other than a marked or unmarked crosswalk, pedestrians must give the right-of-way to drivers. This includes between closely spaced intersections where traffic signals are in operation. A pedestrian tunnel or pedestrian crossing bridge should be used when available. Pedestrians must not walk on a roadway unless there is no sidewalk or shoulder next to it. Under these conditions, pedestrians should always walk as far from the outside edge of the road as possible. In two-way traffic, pedestrians should walk facing oncoming traffic. If a highway does not have a sidewalk but has a shoulder, pedestrians should always walk on the shoulder as far from the roadway as possible. Pedestrians should not walk on a highway when under the influence of alcohol or other drugs. Pedestrians with disabilities. When approaching a pedestrian with a disability who is utilizing a guide dog, a white cane, a wheelchair, or other assistive device on a sidewalk or roadway, the person with the disability has the right of way and is granted the same rights as any pedestrian. Joggers/walkers. Joggers/walkers should use jogging paths when provided. On public roads, joggers/walkers should try to select wide roads with good shoulders. They should face oncoming traffic and remember to look and listen for cars. At night or any time visibility is poor, joggers/walkers should be in well-lit areas and wear reflective clothing. Other safety concerns. Pedestrians must always obey railroad and bridge gates and other barriers. Standing on the roadway to ask for a ride, hitchhiking, is illegal. Pedestrians should not stand on or next to a highway to ask drivers or passengers for any type of money or business. Pedestrians ages 18 or older may skate on public roadways where the posted speed limit is 45 miles per hour or less from sunrise to sunset as long as vehicular traffic is not impeded or obstructed. Children. To ensure the safety of children, drivers and parents should watch for signs that mark special hazard areas, such as school zones, bus stops, play grounds, parks, and schools. Be ready to reduce speed in residential areas, school areas, and places where children are most likely to be. Be extremely watchful when backing in or out of a driveway when children are near. Teach children the rights and responsibilities of pedestrians at an early age. Assign play areas for children. Parents should make sure children do not play in or near streets, driveways, or other dangerous areas. Motorcycles. Motorcycle riders have the same rights and responsibilities as other roadway users. Because of their size and vulnerability in a crash, it is important to pay special attention to motorcycles. The failure of motorists to detect and recognize motorcycles in traffic is the most common cause of motorcycle crashes. Due to their small size, motorcycles may be difficult to see and motorists tend to underestimate their speed. A driver should expect to see motorcycles in traffic at any time, not just in the spring and summer. Drivers involved in crashes often report not seeing the motorcycle or seeing it too late to avoid a collision. Intersections. More than 50% of all motorcycle crashes occur at intersections. The most common situation occurs when an oncoming automobile makes a left turn in front of a motorcycle. Watch for motorcycles before turning and yield the right of way. Be particularly careful when making a left turn across lanes of oncoming traffic and wait to be sure of the motorcycle operator's intent before proceeding to make a left turn. Stoplights. If a red light fails to turn green after 120 seconds, a motorcyclist may proceed through an intersection after yielding the right of way to oncoming traffic. Lane sharing. Traffic conditions and road surfaces will determine the area within the lane that the motorcyclist will use. Although there may be enough room in the traffic lane for an automobile and a motorcyclist, remember that the motorcyclist needs the room to maneuver safely and is entitled to the entire lane. Do not share the lane. Passing. When being passed by a motorcycle, you should maintain your lane position and speed. Allow the motorcycle to complete the maneuver and assume proper lane position as quickly as possible. Following and stopping distance. Allow at least 3 to 4 seconds following distance when behind a motorcycle so the motorcyclist has enough time to maneuver in an emergency. In dry conditions, motorcycles can stop more quickly than a car. Dim your headlights when following all vehicles, including motorcycles. Motorcycles can stop in a shorter distance than a car. A motorcyclist's ability to stop quickly also may depend on the rider's experience and training. Road conditions. Motorcycles react differently to traffic, weather, and road conditions than cars. Riders may respond in ways a vehicle driver does not expect. Wet or icy roads impair a motorcyclist's ability to brake and maneuver. Wind gusts, both natural and those created by large passing vehicles, can move a motorcycle across an entire lane if the rider is not prepared. Potholes, oil spills, gravel, debris, or railroad tracks often require motorcyclists to change positions within their lane. Gravel roads decrease traction and may cause a rider to slow down or brake where a car would not. In case of a crash, motorcyclists may only be protected by a helmet, eye protection, boots, gloves, and durable clothing. In the event of a crash, use extreme caution and seek emergency medical assistance. More information on motorcycle safety is available in the Illinois Motorcycle Operators Manual, which is available at any driver services facility or at ilsos.gov. Autocycles. An autocycle is a three-wheeled vehicle that has a steering wheel and seating that does not require the driver to straddle or sit astride it. This type of vehicle may be operated on Illinois roadways when correctly titled and registered with the Secretary of State. The operator of the vehicle must have a valid Illinois driver's license to legally operate the vehicle. Bicycles. manual, gas, or electric-powered. On most roadways, bicyclists, including those on electric bikes or gas-driven bicycles that do not exceed 20 miles per hour, have the same rights and responsibilities as other roadway users, including the right-of-way. The following are important laws and safety tips regarding bicyclists. Some municipalities have roadways with designated bike lanes. Vehicles are not allowed to drive, park, idle, or drop off or pick up passengers in these bike lanes even if bicyclists are not present. Bicyclists may need to ride outside a bike lane, and drivers should be prepared to safely move around them. Bicyclists are prohibited on controlled access highways, expressways, and certain other marked roadways. Bicyclists are required to travel in the same direction as vehicles. Bicyclists should travel just to the right of faster-moving traffic. However, certain hazards such as rough surfaces, debris, drainage grates, or a narrow traffic lane may require bike riders to move toward the center of the lane. Drivers must yield the right-of-way to a bicyclist just as they would to another vehicle. When passing a bicyclist, motorists must do so slowly and leave at least 3 feet of passing space from the edge of the vehicle's side mirror. If there is not 3 feet of passing space, drivers must wait to pass until they can do so safely. If a driver passes too close to a bicyclist and it results in a crash, the driver may face criminal charges. Crowding or threatening a bicyclist is prohibited. When following bicyclists, a driver should give them plenty of room and be prepared to stop quickly. Extra caution should be used during bad weather. High beam lights should not be used at night when approaching an oncoming bicyclist. When a motorist is turning left and there is a bicyclist entering the intersection from the opposite direction, the driver should wait for the bicyclist to pass before making the turn. If a motorist is sharing the left turn lane with a bicyclist, the motorist should stay behind the bicyclist until the bicyclist has safely completed the turn. If motorists are turning right and a bicyclist is approaching on the right, they should let the bicyclist go through the intersection first before making a right turn. A driver should remember to signal when turning. Low-speed electric or gas bicycles must have a motor of less than 1 horsepower and must be operated by a person who is at least age 16. Low-speed electric and gas bicycles may only be driven on streets and may not exceed 20 miles per hour. They may not be driven on sidewalks. Low-speed and electric bicycles must follow all laws applicable to bicyclists. After parking and before opening vehicle doors, a motorist should first check for bicyclists. Drivers should consider reaching with their right hand to open the vehicle door, as this gives them a better opportunity to check their surroundings for oncoming vehicles and bicyclists. A low-speed electric bicycle is a bicycle equipped with fully operable pedals and an electric motor of less than 750 watts. Low-speed electric bicycles may operate on any authorized highway, street, or roadway, including bicycle lanes and bike paths. They may not be operated on sidewalks. Local authorities may prohibit the use of low-speed electric bicycles on roadways or bike paths within their jurisdiction. There are 3 classes of low-speed electric bicycles. Class 1, equipped with a motor that provides assistance only when the rider is pedaling and ceases to provide assistance when the bicycle reaches 20 miles per hour. Class 2, equipped with a motor that may be used exclusively to propel the bicycle but not capable of engaging when a bicycle reaches 20 miles per hour. Class 3, equipped with a motor that engages only when the rider is pedaling and provides assistance when the bicycle reaches 28 miles per hour. Operators must be at least age 16. Persons may operate a Class 3 low-speed electric bicycle only if they are 16 years of age or older. A person who is under 16 years of age may ride as a passenger on a Class 3 low-speed electric bicycle that is designed to accommodate passengers. For more information, an Illinois Bicycle Rules of the Road booklet is available at any local driver services facility or at ilsos.gov. Visit www.bikesafetiquiz.com for more information on vehicle and bicycle safety. Scooters and mopeds. Only motor-driven cycles and motorcycles properly titled and registered in Illinois may be legally operated on Illinois roadways. A scooter may be titled and registered in Illinois if it displays a federal safety certification label in addition to a vehicle identification number, VIN. A scooter or moped driver must obey all signs, signals, and traffic laws and is subject to most laws regarding the use of bicycles. Mopeds or scooters carrying two people must be equipped with a seat and footrest for the passenger. If driven at night, it must have a headlight visible from at least 500 feet and a tail light on the rear that is visible from at least 100 to 600 feet. To determine what type of driver's license is required to operate a scooter or moped on Illinois roadways, follow these guidelines. If the scooter has an engine with less than 150 cubic centimeters displacement, it is a motor-driven cycle and a Class L motorcycle license is required. If the scooter has an engine with 150 cubic centimeters displacement or greater, it is a motorcycle and a Class M license is required. A moped may be operated with any valid Illinois driver's license. If a combustion engine is used, it may not exceed 50 cubic centimeters displacement and may not require the operator to shift gears. Large vehicles. When sharing the road with trucks, buses, or other large vehicles, a driver of a smaller vehicle should stay out of blind spots and maintain a visible position when following a large vehicle. Drivers of large vehicles should be able to see surrounding vehicles and their side mirrors. Pay close attention to turn signals and give large vehicles plenty of room to maneuver and make turns. Large vehicles make wide right turns and sometimes leave an open space to the right just before the turn. Always allow extra space for large vehicles. Size and weight can affect a large vehicle's ability to maneuver and stop. Always dim headlights when following a truck at night. Bright lights will blind the drivers of large vehicles when they reflect off the large side mirrors. Blink the vehicle's headlights when passing a truck to let the truck driver know, especially at night. The truck driver may make it easier by staying to the far side of the lane. The pass should be completed as quickly as possible to avoid staying alongside the truck. Disabled vehicles. When drivers approach any disabled vehicle using hazard lights on a 4-lane highway, Illinois law requires drivers to change lanes away from the disabled vehicle if it is safe to do so. If it is not safe to change lanes, the driver should reduce speed when approaching and passing the disabled vehicle. Speed should not be increased until well past the disabled vehicle. Illinois law states a person may not push a disabled vehicle on a rural highway unless there is an emergency and it should be removed to avoid a hazard. Remove a wrecked or damaged vehicle from the roadway without removing all glass and other debris. Tow one vehicle with another except by a drawbar. In most cases, the distance between the two cars should not exceed 15 feet. A towed vehicle should be coupled to the towing vehicle with 2 chains or cables. Illinois law requires a disabled, unattended, or abandoned vehicle to be removed from the roadway as soon as possible. Law enforcement may request a vehicle be towed at the owner's expense if it has been left along a roadway after a certain period of time. Interstate, expressway, or toll highway, after 2 hours. Highway in an urban area, after 10 hours. Highway in a non-urban area, after 24 hours. Low-speed vehicles. A low-speed vehicle is any 4-wheeled vehicle that has a federal safety certification label in addition to a vehicle identification number, VIN. Low-speed vehicles can have a maximum speed of 25 miles per hour. Low-speed vehicles must be titled and registered in the same manner as any other vehicle. Low-speed vehicles may operate on any street with a posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour or less, unless prohibited by the local municipality. Low-speed vehicles must be equipped with the following: parking brake, steering wheel, tires, windshield, safety belts, rear-view mirror, exterior rear-view mirror mounted on driver's side of the vehicle, red reflectors mounted on each rear side of the vehicle and one in the middle, headlight visible for 500 feet from the front. Tail lights, red light visible for 100 feet from the rear. Brake lights. Front and rear turn signals. Slow-moving vehicles. Certain slow-moving farm vehicles, construction equipment, and animal-drawn vehicles may share the roadways. Use caution and prepare to slow down when approaching and passing slow-moving vehicles from the rear. An orange slow-moving vehicle emblem must be on the rear of certain slow-moving vehicles. Closing speeds. Normal speeds for slow-moving vehicles may range from 5 to 20 miles per hour. When a vehicle traveling at normal highway speed approaches a slow-moving vehicle from the rear, the speed differential will dramatically shorten the time it takes to reach the slow-moving vehicle. Turns in passing. Slow-moving vehicles may make wide turns and may turn right or left at any time into unmarked entrances. Stay a safe distance behind a slow-moving vehicle when approaching it from the rear and only pass when it is safe to do so. Be certain that the slow-moving vehicle operator is aware of your presence and intent to pass before beginning the maneuver. Rear light. When lights are required, a flashing amber signal must be mounted as high as possible on the rear of the vehicle. It must be visible for 500 feet in sunlight. Other devices to identify slow-moving vehicles may include reflectors or rotating or oscillating amber lights. Lane usage. Slower traffic must drive in the right lane. The left lane is for passing and turning. Slow-moving vehicles may be wider than the lane width, so it may be necessary for these vehicles to temporarily move into an adjoining lane to avoid roadside obstructions. Snowmobiles. During the winter, a driver may share the roadway with snowmobiles. Use care when driving in areas with snowmobile warning signs. For more information on snowmobile registration and operating requirements, call the Illinois Department of Natural Resources at 866-867-3542 or visit www.dnr.illinois.gov. Horseback riders. Horseback riders may use public roadways. The exceptions are controlled access highways and most expressways. Horseback riders must ride in the same direction as other traffic and as far to the right as possible. Never sound a horn when near a horse or other livestock, as the sound may frighten it and cause a crash. When meeting or passing a horseback rider, do so with caution and be prepared to stop. Chapter 6: Driving Under the Influence, DUI. Alcohol is the #1 killer on American roadways. Alcohol affects your vision and slows your reaction time, so it takes longer to act in an emergency. Alcohol affects your driving even if you are below the level of illegal intoxication. Drinking even a small amount of alcohol increases the chances of causing a crash. Blood alcohol concentration, BAC/presence of drugs. Blood alcohol concentration, BAC, is a measurement of the amount of alcohol in your system based on a test of your breath, blood, urine, or other bodily substance. It is illegal to drive if your BAC is 0.08% or more. However, you can be convicted of driving under the influence, DUI, if your BAC is less than 0.08%, but your driving ability is impaired. Other factors affect your reaction to alcohol, including the food you have recently eaten, your tolerance of alcohol, and any drugs you may have consumed. Time is the only way to remove the effects of alcohol. Food, coffee, and showers do not speed up the elimination of alcohol from your body. It is illegal to operate a motor vehicle on Illinois highways with a cannabis tetrahydrocannabinol concentration, THC, of either 5 nanograms or more per milliliter of whole blood or 10 nanograms or more per milliliter of other bodily substance. It is illegal to operate a motor vehicle on Illinois highways with any trace of a controlled drug, substance, or intoxicating compound in the blood. Medical and recreational cannabis, marijuana. Illinois law allows for the medical and recreational use of cannabis for persons ages 21 and older. Individuals who wish to use cannabis for medicinal purposes may enroll in the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis program administered by the Illinois Department of Public Health. The Department of Public Health will issue a registry ID card, and a notation will be made on the registrant's Illinois driving record. You may not operate a motor vehicle while impaired by the use of cannabis, whether used medically or recreationally. Cannabis may only be transported in a vehicle in a sealed, odor-proof, and child-resistant container. No driver or passenger may use cannabis in a motor vehicle. If a police officer stops a vehicle and the officer has reasonable suspicion to believe the person is impaired by the use of cannabis, the driver must submit to field sobriety testing and/or validated roadside chemical tests. Refusal to submit to testing or failure of field sobriety tests and/or validated roadside chemical tests will result in the suspension of the person's driver's license. Driving while impaired by the use of cannabis or illegal transportation of cannabis in a motor vehicle may result in the loss of driving privileges, and for a medical cannabis registry card holder, the revocation of the driver's medical cannabis card for 2 years. Other drugs. In addition to alcohol and cannabis, many prescription and non-prescription drugs impair safe driving. These drugs include, but are not limited to, antihistamines, cold remedies, pain relievers, mood-changing drugs, hashish, LSD, heroin, cocaine, morphine, amphetamines, and methamphetamines. Mixing even small amounts of alcohol with other drugs is very dangerous. DUI laws. Driving under the influence, DUI, is a serious offense that is classified in Illinois as a violent crime. If you are convicted of DUI, the offense will permanently remain on your driving record. If you are arrested and/or convicted, you may lose your driving privileges and vehicle registration, and be fined and/or imprisoned. Implied consent law. When operating on Illinois roadways, you automatically consent to submit to certain tests. These can include breath, blood, urine, or other bodily substance tests to determine if you were under the influence. If involved in a personal injury crash or a crash resulting in the death of another person and law enforcement officers have probable cause to believe you were impaired, they must request a drug or alcohol test. You may have a qualified person of your choice administer additional tests at your own expense. If you refuse to take a breath test or if an officer believes that a blood test may disclose the presence of drugs, you may be held financially liable up to $500 for the costs of the blood tests if found guilty of DUI. Statutory summary suspension/revocation law. If a chemical test discloses a BAC of 0.08% or more or a THC level of either 5 nanograms or more per milliliter of whole blood or 10 nanograms or more per milliliter of other bodily substance, your driving privileges will be suspended for 6 months. This also applies to any amount of a drug substance or intoxicating compound resulting from the unlawful use or consumption of a controlled substance listed in the Illinois Controlled Substances Act, an intoxicating compound listed in the Use of Intoxicating Compounds Act, or a methamphetamine as listed in the Methamphetamine Control and Community Protection Act. If you refuse to submit to chemical testing, your driving privileges will be suspended for 1 year. If you have a previous statutory summary suspension/revocation from Illinois, a suspension for refusing a chemical test from another state, court supervision for DUI, or a conviction for DUI within the last 5 years, you are considered a second offender and will have your driving privileges suspended for 3 years for refusal of chemical testing or 1 year for failure of chemical testing. A test refusal may be used as evidence against you. At the time of arrest, the officer will take your driver's license and, if valid, provide you with a temporary receipt allowing you to drive for 45 days. The statutory summary suspension begins on the 46th day from the notice date provided by the police officer and will not be terminated until you pay the reinstatement fee and your driving record is updated. If you refuse to submit to chemical testing after being involved in a crash where serious personal injury or death was involved, your driving privileges will be revoked for a minimum of 1 year. DUI conviction. In addition to a statutory summary suspension/revocation, you may be convicted of driving under the influence of alcohol, other drugs, and/or intoxicating compounds. A DUI conviction results in a revocation of driving privileges. A first conviction results in a minimum 1-year revocation. A second conviction within 20 years results in a minimum 5-year revocation. A third conviction results in a minimum 10-year revocation. A fourth and subsequent conviction results in a lifetime revocation. A person convicted of a DUI with a BAC of 0.16% or more or a DUI while transporting a child under age May 16 be subject to enhanced penalties. Before your driving privileges are restored, you must undergo an alcohol/drug evaluation, successfully complete a rehabilitation or alcohol/drug education program, have an administrative hearing with the Secretary of State, pay a reinstatement fee, and/or meet other requirements. A DUI conviction also requires you to file financial responsibility insurance for 3 years. If an Illinois resident is convicted of DUI or refuses to submit to alcohol/drug testing in another state, the conviction or refusal will be reported to the Secretary of State's office and be reflected on the person's driving record. The offender will face administrative action against his/her driving privileges the same as if he/she were convicted of a DUI or refused chemical testing in Illinois. Breath Alcohol Ignition Interlock Device, BAID. Any eligible Illinois driver who is first-time DUI offender may apply for a Monitoring Device Driving Permit, MDDP. An MDDP requires a breath alcohol ignition interlock device, BAID, to be installed on his/her vehicles at an approved installation site as a condition of driving relief during a statutory summary suspension period. Unless declared indigent, the DUI offender is responsible for all costs associated with issuance of a permit and installation and monitoring of the BAID. The Secretary of State's office monitors the BAID throughout the duration of the permit. The BAID will alert the Secretary of State's office if the driver attempts to start the vehicle after drinking alcohol or tampers with the device. A first-time DUI offender may choose not to petition for an MDDP and instead choose to refrain from driving during the suspension period. If a DUI offender chooses not to participate in the program and is subsequently caught driving a vehicle during the suspension period, he/she is guilty of a felony. Related DUI offenses. Aggravated DUI. You may be charged with aggravated DUI if you are involved in a death or personal injury crash while driving under the influence, have received a third or subsequent DUI, committed DUI while driving a school bus with children or operating a vehicle for hire such as a limousine, committed DUI without a valid driver's license, permit or vehicle insurance, received a DUI after a previous history of reckless homicide or aggravated DUI involving a death. Illegal transportation of alcoholic beverages/open container. It is illegal for anyone to drink alcoholic beverages in a vehicle. The driver and passengers may be issued a traffic citation. Passengers on chartered buses used for non-school purposes, motorhomes, mini motorhomes, and limousines are exempt. It is illegal to have alcohol in the passenger area of a vehicle if the container has been opened. Operating a motorboat while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. It is illegal to operate a motorboat under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or intoxicating compounds. Individuals involved in a motorboat crash where injuries or death occur may lose their driving privileges for refusing to submit to chemical testing to determine their BAC. Driving privileges may also be lost for submitting to testing that discloses a BAC of 0.08, a THC level of either 5 nanograms or more per milliliter of whole blood or 10 nanograms or more per milliliter of other bodily substance, any amount of a drug, substance, or intoxicating compound resulting from the unlawful use or consumption of a controlled substance listed in the Illinois Controlled Substances Act, any intoxicating compound listed in the Use of Intoxicating Compounds Act, or any methamphetamine as listed in the Methamphetamine Control and Community Protection Act. Parental responsibility. It is illegal for a parent or legal guardian to allow persons under age 21 to consume alcoholic beverages or to fail to control access to alcohol on their private property or on any property under their control, including a vehicle or watercraft. If a death or personal injury occurs as a result of consumption, the parent or legal guardian may face criminal penalties. Driving on a suspended or revoked license for DUI, aggravated DUI, reckless homicide, or leaving the scene of a fatal or personal injury crash. If you are convicted of driving while your license is revoked or suspended for the above offenses, you will be subject to criminal penalties including jail time. Have the suspension or revocation period extended. Have your vehicle seized and possibly forfeited. An Illinois driver whose driving privileges have been suspended or revoked due to a conviction for DUI, reckless homicide, or leaving the scene of a fatal or personal injury crash is not allowed to drive a motor vehicle in any state. If a suspended or revoked Illinois driver is arrested for driving on a suspended or revoked license in another state, that arrest will be reported to the Secretary of State's office. Contributing to a DUI. It is illegal to allow someone to drive your vehicle if you know that person is under the influence. If you are convicted of providing alcohol to a person under age 21, you may be fined, be sentenced to jail, and have your driving privileges suspended. Drivers under age 21. If you are under age 21 and convicted of DUI, you face the revocation of your driving privileges for a minimum of 2 years for a first conviction. If you are under age 21 and found to have any trace of alcohol in your system while operating a motor vehicle, you will have your driving privileges suspended for a minimum of 3 months. All individuals under age 21 who are convicted of or receive court supervision for illegal consumption, purchase, possession, or receiving alcohol as a gift will lose their driving privileges regardless of whether or not they are operating a motor vehicle at the time of the offense. If your driver's license was suspended prior to age 21, you will be required to successfully complete a driver remedial education course. In addition, you may be required to submit to a complete driver's license examination to be reissued a driver's license. Illinois' DUI laws are constantly changing. For the most up-to-date information, please refer to the Secretary of State's DUI Fact Book or visit ilsos.gov. Chapter 7. Traffic Violations/Crashes. If you are involved in or come upon a traffic crash, stop your vehicle in a safe, well-lit public place that does not obstruct traffic, if able to do so. Help any injured person if necessary or requested. Call 911 immediately. Warn other drivers by using emergency flashers and flares if available. Ask all those involved for their names, addresses, phone numbers, driver's license numbers, and license plate numbers. Appearing in court. If you receive a ticket for a minor traffic violation, a date for a court appearance will appear on the face of the ticket. If you fail to pay the ticket or to appear in court on the date indicated, a second court date may be set a minimum of 30 days later. The clerk of the court will send a notice to you at your last known address. Failure to appear on the second date will result in the suspension of your driver's license until the court is satisfied and a reinstatement fee is paid. If you are under age 18 and are required to appear in court, you must have a parent/legal guardian present at the court appearance. An Illinois driver ticketed in another state that is a member of the Non-Resident Violator Compact has 3 options. Stay in the ticketing state and argue the case. Pay the fine, or promise to comply with the traffic ticket, which allows the driver to continue the journey and handle the ticket from home. Failure to comply with the promise to comply may result in the suspension of his or her Illinois driver's license. Crash reports. Regardless of fault, a crash report must be filed by the driver of a vehicle if the crash involves death, bodily injury, or property damage of more than $1,500. If any vehicle involved in the crash is uninsured, a report must be filed for $500 or more. A driver has 30 minutes to report a crash after it occurs. If drivers are involved in a crash, they should notify the police immediately. Many towns and cities require a report if a crash occurs within their limits. If an officer is not at the scene of the crash, a report must be made at the nearest police station as soon as possible. If in a rural area, the county sheriff or Illinois State Police must be notified. If the driver is unable to make the report and there is a passenger, the passenger must make the report. Drivers who fail to report a vehicle crash may be fined up to $2,500 and given a jail sentence of up to 1 year. Leaving the scene of a crash. A driver convicted of leaving the scene of a crash, especially if personal injuries or death occurs, is subject to criminal charges. In cases where a death or personal injury has occurred, the Secretary of State's office is required to revoke the individual's driver's license. In cases where damage is more than $1,000, driving privileges will be suspended. Unattended vehicles. If you are involved in a crash that causes damage to an unattended vehicle, no driver or passenger present, or other property. Stop your vehicle in an area away from traffic. Leave your name, address, phone number, and license plate number on the vehicle or property if the owner cannot be found. Notify police. Complete all required crash reports. Safety responsibility law. If you are at fault in a crash that results in death, injury, or property damage and do not have liability insurance, you must also meet the requirements of the safety responsibility law. This law requires you to post security, a guarantee of payment, to cover damages suffered by the injured party. The Illinois Department of Transportation determines the amount of the security. If you do not post the required securities, your driver's license may be suspended until the lawsuit is settled. The owners of the vehicle involved in the crash also may have their license plates/vehicle registration suspended. Driver's license or vehicle registration privileges will remain suspended until the person provides proof of financial responsibility and maintains the insurance for a period of 3 years from the date the proof is first filed. Individuals convicted of mandatory insurance violations will lose their driving privileges for a minimum of 3 months and be required to pay a $100 reinstatement fee, with no driving permit available. Financial responsibility law. You are required to file proof of financial responsibility if any of the following apply. You receive an unsatisfied court judgment related to a crash. You are suspended under the safety responsibility law due to an uninsured crash. You receive a court supervision for a mandatory insurance violation. You have been convicted of 3 or more mandatory insurance violations. Proof of financial responsibility may include a certificate of insurance, State Route 22, a bond or deposit of securities, such as stock certificates. The State Route 22 is filed directly with the Secretary of State by the insurance company. The Secretary of State monitors insurance coverage for a period of time specified by law. Failure to renew insurance coverage or cancellation of insurance will result in a driver's license suspension. Crash prevention courses. If you are age 55 or over, you may receive a reduction in your motor vehicle liability insurance if you successfully complete an 8-hour defensive driving course. Contact your insurance agent to determine the amount of the reduction. Information about courses is available by visiting www.aarp.org. Chapter 8, Driver's License Revocation, Suspension, Denial, and Cancellation. Certain revocations, suspensions, denials, and cancellations can remain on an individual's driving record permanently. Driving while a driver's license is suspended or revoked will result in an extension of the suspension or revocation period and may subject the driver to a period of incarceration. More information on actions that may cause the suspension or revocation of driving privileges is available in the Illinois Vehicle Code. Revocation. A revocation is the indefinite withdrawal of driving privileges by the Secretary of State's office. To regain your driving privileges, you may be eligible to reapply for a license after a minimum of 1 year, unless otherwise noted. The Secretary of State will immediately revoke the driving privileges of anyone who is convicted of a moving violation that caused a crash and resulted in the death of another person. The Secretary of State's office has the authority to revoke the driver's license of a repeat traffic offender. During the course of any revocation, your vehicle registration may be suspended. Notice is given accordingly. Other offenses for which your driver's license may be revoked include, but are not limited to: aggravated DUI, causing personal injury or death as a result of a DUI, having a prior conviction of reckless homicide or aggravated DUI involving a death and committing a DUI, receiving a third or subsequent DUI conviction, committing a DUI without a valid license, permit or vehicle insurance, or committing a DUI violation while transporting children on a school bus. Aggravated fleeing the police, driving away from the police when directed to stop. Aggravated reckless driving, driving resulting in great bodily harm, permanent disability, or disfigurement to another person. Auto theft, stealing a motor vehicle or motor vehicle parts. Drag racing or street racing, illegally racing with another vehicle. DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol, cannabis, other drugs, and/or intoxicating compounds. Felony offense, using a vehicle while committing a serious crime. Fraudulent ID, making or possessing the equipment to make, sell, use, attempt to use, or assist another in using an unauthorized, non-governmental issued ID or driver's license. Gang-related activity, a gang-related offense involving the use of a vehicle or an Illinois driver's license. Leaving the scene of a crash that killed or injured someone. Perjury, giving false information to the Secretary of State. Reckless conduct, reckless behavior involving a vehicle and resulting in injury or danger to another person. Reckless driving, conviction of 3 reckless driving offenses in 12 months or driving that results in great bodily harm, permanent disability, or disfigurement to another person. Reckless homicide, driving recklessly, resulting in the death of another person or being involved in a crash where a death occurred while driving on a suspended or revoked license due to an aggravated DUI. School bus violation, conviction for overtaking or passing a school bus that results in a crash where a death occurred. Suspension. A suspension is the temporary loss of driving privileges. When the suspension is for a specific length of time, you may regain your driving privileges after the suspension has ended and you have paid a reinstatement fee. In some cases, your driver's license will not be returned until other requirements are met. Offenses for which your driver's license may be suspended include, but are not limited to: automated traffic violations, failure to pay 5 or more unpaid automated traffic violations for violating a red light signal or speeding or a combination thereof in a municipality. Causing a crash in a construction zone, failure to reduce speed or change lanes in a construction zone, which results in property damage to another or injury of another. Child visitation abuse, suspension upon receipt of a court order indicating the driver has engaged in abuse of a child visitation order. Drug/alcohol test failure, failure of chemical testing following a DUI arrest disclosing a BAC of 0.08% or more, a THC level of either 5 nanograms or more per milliliter of whole blood or 10 nanograms or more per milliliter of other bodily substance, or any trace of a controlled substance or intoxicating compound. Drug/alcohol test refusal, refusal of chemical testing for drugs or alcohol after being arrested for DUI in Illinois or another state. Drug or sex offense, committing a drug or sex crime while operating or in direct physical control of an automobile. Failure to appear violations, failure to appear in court for any traffic citation. Failure to obey a railroad crossing signal, conviction of a second violation for failure to obey a railroad crossing signal. Failure to pay child support, suspension for non-payment of child support resulting from a court order or by direction of the Illinois Department of Health Care and Family Services. Failure to yield to an emergency vehicle using audible and visual signals, lights and sirens, failure to reduce speed and to change lanes away from a stationary emergency vehicle that results in property damage to another or injury to another. Fraudulent driver's license/ID application, possessing, displaying, or attempting to use an altered driver's license or ID card, using another person's license or ID card or allowing another person to use the license, or submitting a fraudulent application or allowing another person to submit documents for a fraudulent application. Illegal possession, consumption, purchase of alcohol, or accepting alcohol as a gift by a person under age 21 if the offense occurred while the person was an occupant of a motor vehicle. Illegal transportation of alcohol, illegal transportation of alcohol twice in 12 months if age 21 or older. Illegal transportation under 21, illegal transportation of alcohol while under age 21. Mandatory insurance violations, failure to file financial responsibility insurance, State Route 22, after receiving court supervision for driving without insurance, or having 3 or more tickets for driving without insurance. Mandatory insurance conviction, driving without mandatory insurance. Railroad crossing violation, non-payment of 5 or more violations. School bus violations, failure to stop for a school bus picking up or dropping off children, or failure to pay 5 or more violations of yielding to a stopped school bus when recorded by a camera. Speeding in a construction zone, a second violation within 2 years of the previous violation of speeding in a construction zone when workers are present. Traffic crashes, refusing or neglecting to report a traffic crash. Traffic violations, 3 traffic violation convictions during a 12-month period. If you are under age 21 at the time of arrest, 2 traffic violations within any 24-month period. Unauthorized parking in a space designated for persons with disabilities. Uninsured crashes, being an at-fault driver in a traffic crash without insurance where damages are owed. Zero tolerance violation, having an alcohol concentration of greater than 0.00 but less than 0.08 by a person under age 21. Cancellation. Cancellation is the termination of driving privileges by formal action of the Secretary of State's office. Cancellation of a person's driver's license or permit will occur because of an error or defect in the license or because the licensee is no longer entitled to the license. Reapplication for a driver's license may be made only after the terms of the cancellation have been met. Reason for which your driver's license may be canceled include, but are not limited to: medical condition, being medically or visually unfit to safely operate a motor vehicle, failure to submit a medical or vision report when required, and failure to self-admit to a medical condition that may interfere with the safe operation of a motor vehicle. Re-examination requirement, failing to appear for required re-examination, failing a portion of the test required on a mandatory re-examination. Fraudulent application, committing a fraudulent offense in the making of a driver's license or ID card application. Ineligible, being unentitled to the license or permit. Denial. Denial is the temporary refusal of the privilege of applying for a driver's license and, in certain instances, an instruction permit. A denial can be entered on the driving record of an individual under age 18 for conviction of one of the following offenses. Mandatory revocation of driving privileges for offenses listed on pages 58 to 59. A denial for these offenses prohibits individuals from applying for a driver's license or an instruction permit until their 18th birthday. Driving without a valid driver's license or permit, such a denial forbids individuals from applying for a driver's license until their 18th birthday, while an application for an instruction permit is still allowed. If the person already has a driver's license, the driving privileges granted by that license are reduced to an instruction permit. Serious moving violation, the length of this type of denial is either 9 months or until the person's 18th birthday, whichever is shorter. This denial only forbids an application for a driver's license. Instruction permit applications are still allowed. If the person already has a driver's license, the driving privileges granted are reduced to an instruction permit. Crash involving bodily harm or death, the Secretary of State's office may deny issuing or renewing a driver's license if the driver has been charged with an offense due to a crash resulting in serious injury or death of another. Alcohol need not play a factor in the crash. Special driving permits. An Illinois driver whose driving privileges have been revoked or suspended may be allowed to drive using special permits in certain cases. Restricted driving permit, RDP, allows driving only during certain times and along specified routes for work-related or educational purposes, transporting a child in the home to and from daycare or an acceptable educational institution, or to receive medical care or drug treatment. An RDP cannot be issued to a person under age 16. Monitoring Device Driving Permit, MDDP, allows a first-time DUI offender serve ING a statutory summary suspension to operate a motor vehicle equipped with a breath alcohol ignition interlock device, BAID. Issuance of the MDDP and installation of the BAID allows drivers to legally operate a motor vehicle at any time of day or night as long as they do not consume alcohol prior to driving and do not tamper with the BAID unit. An MDDP cannot be issued to a person under age 18. Occupational Driving Permit, ODP, allows a professional driver whose license has been suspended for 3 moving violations to operate a vehicle in conjunction with employment. To qualify, the individual must drive for a living. This permit does not apply to commercial drivers. Probationary license allows a driver age 21 and over whose license has been suspended for 3 moving violations in a 12-month period to operate a vehicle during the period of suspension. The permit is issued in conjunction with the completion of a driver improvement course. This is issued in conjunction with a driver improvement activity that grants full driving privileges during a period of suspension for drivers ages 21 and over. Family Financial Responsibility Driving Permit, FRP, allows a driver whose license was suspended for non-payment of child support or child visitation abuse to operate a vehicle. This permit is only issued following a circuit judge's order or upon direction from the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services. Chapter 9, Roadway Signs. Along the roadway there are many types of signs: regulatory, warning, and guide. Each type of sign is identified by its shape and color. You will be asked to identify roadway signs on the written driver's license exam. Shapes of signs. These are the basic shapes of signs, each with a special purpose. Other shapes may be used for special purposes. 8-sided red sign means stop. You must make a complete stop at the stop line. If there is no stop line, stop before entering the crosswalk. If there is no crosswalk, stop before entering the intersection. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians and approaching traffic. At an always stop sign, wait for your turn. If the stop sign is a temporary sign erected by highway authorities, it should be treated as if it were a permanent stop sign. If the stop sign is handheld, stop until an authorized person, such as a school guard or construction zone flagger, signals that it is safe to proceed. 3-sided sign means yield the right-of-way. You must let all traffic and pedestrians go before proceeding. Yield signs are red and white. Round sign indicates a railroad crossing ahead. Railroad crossing signs are yellow with a black crossbuck X and the letters R. It is an advance warning sign that means a railroad track will cross the roadway ahead. In rural areas, the sign may be up to 750 feet in advance of the railroad crossing. Slow down, look and stop if necessary. Roll down your vehicle windows and listen to make certain other noises do not block out the sound of a train. If a train is approaching, stop and wait. Never race the train to the crossing. Diamond-shaped sign means warning. It may be yellow, yellow-green, or orange with black wording or symbols. This sign warns you about hazards or possible hazards on or near the roadway. Slow down and use caution when you see this type of sign. 5-sided sign is yellow or yellow-green with black symbols. It means either school zone or school crossing. If the sign shows 2 children walking, a school is near. If the sign shows 2 children walking with a downward pointing arrow, you are at a school crossing. 3-sided sign is yellow with black and indicates a no passing zone. The sign will appear on the left side of a 2-lane, 2-way roadway at the beginning of the area where no passing pavement markings are also used. Squares and/or rectangles can be used either as regulatory or guide signs. Colors of signs. The color on a sign has a special meaning. It is important that you memorize the meanings of the colors. Red signs are regulatory signs and must be obeyed. They include stop, yield, do not enter, or wrong way. Some black and white signs are regulatory signs and must be obeyed. Others are used as route markers and are illustrated in the guide signs section on page 75. Yellow is used for warning signs. These signs tell you of road conditions and dangers ahead. Yellow-green can also be used for warning signs. These signs alert you to pedestrian and bicycle crossings, playground areas, school bus stops, and school zones. Orange is used for warning signs usually found in constructions or maintenance zones along streets and highways. These signs alert you to possible dangers ahead due to construction and maintenance projects. Green is used for guide signs. These signs tell you where you are, which way to go, and the distance to upcoming destinations. Blue also is used for guide signs. These signs tell you about services along the roadway. Brown is used for parks and recreation signs. Pink may be used for traffic incident signing. These signs alert you to possible dangers ahead due to unplanned traffic incidents, such as traffic crashes and natural disasters. Regulatory signs. Regulatory signs instruct you on what to do and must be obeyed. Stop. An 8-sided, octagon, sign tells you to always make a full stop at the stop line. If there is no stop line, stop before entering the crosswalk. If there is no crosswalk, stop before entering the intersection. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians and approaching traffic. Always stop. This sign means there are stop signs at each approach to an intersection. Traffic from all directions must stop. The first driver to stop is the first driver to go. Other drivers must wait their turn. You may also see 3-way, 5-way, or all-way signs underneath the stop sign. Yield. The 3-sided, triangle, sign tells you to give the right-of-way to all vehicles and pedestrians before proceeding. Slow down to a safe speed and stop if necessary. When stopping, do so at a marked crosswalk or before entering the intersection. You also may see yield signs on expressway ramps. These signs may be posted when there is no extra lane where a driver may speed up to merge with expressway traffic. There is no regulatory sign associated with merging lanes, only advisory and warning signs. Late merge is not typically used due to operational concerns. Do not enter. This sign is posted on one-way streets and other roadways where you are not allowed to enter. You may see this sign if attempting to enter an expressway ramp in the wrong direction. Speed zone ahead. This sign warns you there is a speed zone ahead. Be prepared to alter your current speed. Speed limit. Some signs show maximum and minimum speed limits for all types of vehicles on freeways and controlled access highways. Driving slower than the minimum speed limit is illegal unless necessary for safety. Wrong way. This sign tells you that your vehicle is traveling in the wrong direction. You will see this sign on expressway ramps a short distance past the Do Not Enter sign. You also will see this sign if turning the wrong way into a one-way street, alley, or driveway. No, not allowed. Signs having a red circle with a red slash from the upper left to the lower right mean a particular action is not allowed. The picture within the circle shows what is not allowed. No U-turn. These signs are posted on divided highways or expressways. You may see one where there is an opening in the divided highway that leads to the other side. These openings are only for authorized vehicles, such as police cars, ambulances, snow plows, construction/maintenance equipment, and other emergency vehicles. Other types of vehicles may not use this opening. No right/left turn. These signs indicate turns are not allowed in the direction shown by the arrow. One way. These signs are used on one-way streets or driveways. You must always go only in the direction of the arrow. Two-way left turn lanes. Either of these two signs can be used to indicate a two-way left turn lane in the center of a highway. Along with a sign, the two-way left turn lane is marked with yellow lines and white arrows. No turn on red. This sign is used at some intersections. It tells you a right turn on a red light or a left turn on a red light at intersecting one-way streets is prohibited. It may also show a red circle instead of the word red. Approaching a divided highway. This sign is used on approaches to a divided highway. It informs you that a median separates both directions of traffic on the road you are going to turn onto or cross. Keep right. This sign tells you where to drive when approaching traffic islands, medians, or other obstructions in the middle of the roadway. You must drive to the side indicated by the arrow. Slower traffic, keep right. This sign is posted for those driving slower than the normal speed of traffic on some multi-lane highways. It tells the slow driver to drive in the right lane. Stop here on red. This sign is used when it is not clear where vehicles must stop at an intersection with traffic signals. Do not pass. This sign informs you that you may not pass other vehicles. It is posted on some two-lane roads where traffic goes in both directions. There will also be yellow no passing lines on the road. Pass with care. This sign informs you that you have reached the end of the no passing zone. You may pass now only when it is safe. Road closed. This sign is used when the road is closed to all traffic. You may not continue on the road. Bike lane. A bicycle lane is a designated traffic lane for bicyclists. These lanes are marked by a solid white line that becomes a dotted line ending before it reaches the corner. Bicycle lanes are sometimes painted a bright green color in order to increase visibility. Warning signs. Warning signs alert you to conditions ahead. These signs are usually diamond-shaped and warn about road hazards, construction sites, schools, or other situations that require special attention. While most warning signs are yellow, some communities may use fluorescent yellow-green pedestrian, bicycle, and school signs. Construction and maintenance warning signs are orange. Pedestrian crosswalk. This sign tells you there is a crosswalk. Crosswalks are not always located at intersections, so you must watch both sides of the street for pedestrians. Pedestrian crosswalk signs may also be accompanied by a yellow flashing beacon located on the sign. This beacon helps to increase driver awareness of an approaching crosswalk and the potential presence of pedestrians in the crosswalk. Other special crossings. These signs alert drivers in advance of special areas where vehicles and pedestrians may be crossing. School signs. These signs warn you of school areas and crossings. Stay alert and watch for children. Adult school crossing guards, auxiliary police, or police officers often supervise these street crossings when students are going to and from school. School safety patrol members may assist the crossing guards. Slow down and stop when necessary. The first two signs warn of school crossings ahead or of school buildings or grounds next to the roadway. The last two signs are posted at school crosswalks. These two signs are used in areas where a reduced speed school zone has been established. The posted speed applies only on school days when children are present. Usual school hours are from 6:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., but hours may vary, where a potential hazard exists because of the children's close proximity to traffic or when a light is flashing. The use of wireless/cell phones is prohibited while driving in a posted school speed zone. Stop ahead/yield ahead/signal ahead. These signs warn you of approaching traffic control signals. Although the traffic signal may not yet be visible, the traffic signs are close enough to require you to start slowing down. Advance warning signs also are used in high-speed areas because of the longer distance needed to slow down or stop. Intersections ahead. These signs warn you of intersections ahead where traffic may exist, or a right or left turn may be required. A sign naming the intersecting road also may be posted. Turns and curves. Certain signs are posted before turns and curves. The shape of the arrow tells you what to expect. A small sign showing the maximum safe speed also may be posted below the arrow. Exit ramp. These signs are posted at freeway and interstate exit ramps. This sign shows the maximum safe speed a vehicle can be driven on the ramp. Slippery pavement. All roads are slippery and dangerous when wet. This sign warns you of conditions that can cause you to lose control of your car. Slow down when coming upon wet pavement because it takes longer to stop. Downgrade. This sign warns you of a dangerous hill. It may be very long or steep, or it may have sharp curves. Slow your speed before starting down the hill. Narrow bridge. This sign warns you that an approaching bridge has a narrow roadway. A bridge width is generally 2 feet less than the width of the approach pavement. Reduction in lanes. These signs are used on multi-lane highways to warn you of a reduction in the number of traffic lanes in the direction of travel. Reduction in lanes can be temporary, due to construction or maintenance activities, or permanent. Be prepared to change lanes or to allow other vehicles to merge into your lane. Drivers of all vehicles may need to adjust their speed and position to avoid a crash with another vehicle. During periods when the road is not congested, merge into the open lane as early as possible. During times of congestion, it is advised that you use both lanes to advance to the lane reduction point and merge at that location, alternating turns. This is also known as the zipper merge, as two sides merge into one like a zipper. Road narrows. This sign warns you that a two-lane road suddenly narrows. No passing. This sign is used on two-way roads. It warns you not to pass. The sign is posted on the left side of the road at the beginning of a no passing zone. Merging lanes. This sign tells you that two lanes of traffic going the same direction will soon merge into one lane. Be ready to either change lanes or allow other traffic to merge into your lane. Merge signs may appear on expressways just before expressway ramps. The driver on the expressway should slow down to let the driver on the ramp merge. Change in direction. This sign warns you of a change in direction or narrowing of the road. You may find several of these signs on the outside of a sharp curve or on approaches to a narrow bridge. Divided highway. Divided highways have a center strip that separates traffic going in opposite directions. The first sign is posted before a divided highway begins. The second sign is posted just before the divided highway ends. Be careful nearing the end of a divided highway. Two-way roadway. This sign informs you that you are leaving a divided roadway and approaching a two-way highway. Construction and maintenance signs. Construction and maintenance zone signs alert you to changing conditions on the roadway and help keep highway workers safe. Workers ahead. These signs are posted far enough ahead to give you time to adjust your vehicle speed for any unusual conditions. When you see these signs, workers may be working close to your traffic lane. Follow the signs and adjust your vehicle speed to the posted construction zone speed limit, stay alert, and keep a safe distance between your vehicle and all traffic barriers. Warning cones, drums, and barricades. These devices are used to protect you from dangerous locations by marking a path for you to follow in construction and maintenance zones. They also are used to warn motorists of an existing hazard. Warning lights and arrow boards. Warning lights help draw your attention to drums and barricades at night. Arrow boards warn the motorist of an upcoming lane closure or caution when construction is ahead and the direction to merge or move. Flagger. This sign warns that there is a flagger ahead. Use caution when approaching a flagger, as the individual will be working close to traffic. Slow down and be prepared to obey the signals of the flagger. You must stop if signaled to do so. Portable changeable message signs. Portable changeable message signs provide real-time information to help communicate with users the road conditions and to provide guidance. Messages in these devices may include slow or stop traffic warnings, notice of lane or road closures, travel and delay time information, changes in alignment of the road, or changes in road user patterns. These may also be used to direct you to take alternate roads, take detours, or use both lanes to a merging point to increase roadway capacity. It is important for you to follow the messages in these devices. Other special signs. Slow-moving vehicle. A vehicle displaying this sign is moving slowly. You must slow down and may pass only when safe and legal to do so. Parking for persons with disabilities. Parking spaces with this sign are reserved for vehicles displaying persons with disabilities license plates and parking placards and disabled veteran license plates. Guide signs. Guide signs tell you where you are, what road you are on, and how to get to a specific location. Most guide signs are rectangular. However, guide signs for county roads and route markers on freeways are different in shape. The type of information given determines the color of the sign. Route markers. These signs are used alone or with smaller signs. They direct you to specific roads. Different routes have different markings. Chapter 10. Traffic signals and pavement markings. Traffic signals and pavement markings must be obeyed unless a police or traffic control officer directs otherwise. A driver may never leave the roadway to avoid a traffic signal. Traffic signals. Traffic lights at intersections usually have three colors: red, yellow, and green, from top to bottom or from left to right. At some intersections, however, there may be a single red, yellow, or green light. Some traffic lights are steady, some flash, and some are arrows. When traffic control signals are not working, you must always treat the intersection as an all-way stop by coming to a complete stop, unless directed otherwise by law enforcement. You must then look and yield the right-of-way before entering an intersection. Steady lights. Red light, stop at the marked stop line. If there is not a marked stop line, stop before entering the crosswalk. If there is no crosswalk, stop before entering the intersection. Do not go until the light is green and the intersection is clear. You may make a right turn at a red light unless there is a sign prohibiting it. You also may make a left turn at a red light when turning from a one-way street onto another one-way street that has traffic moving to the left. In both instances, come to a complete stop and yield the right-of-way to oncoming traffic and pedestrians before turning. Yellow light. The yellow light warns that the signal is changing from green to red. When the red light appears, do not enter the intersection. Green light. You may go after yielding the right-of-way to any pedestrians and vehicles in the intersection or crosswalk. Flashing lights. Flashing red. You must stop, yield the right-of-way to traffic within the intersection or crosswalk and proceed when safe. This light is used at intersections when a stop sign alone is hard to see or where additional emphasis on the stop sign is needed. It also is used at railroad crossings to warn of approaching trains. Flashing yellow, proceed into the intersection with caution. Arrows. After yielding the right-of-way to traffic within the intersection or crosswalk, you may go in the direction the arrow is pointing. Red arrow, constantly lit. The constantly lit red arrow means you cannot make the movement shown by the arrow until a green arrow appears. There are two exceptions. You may make a right turn at a red arrow. You also may make a left turn at a red arrow when turning from a one-way street onto another one-way street that has traffic moving to the left. In both instances, come to a complete stop and yield the right-of-way to oncoming traffic and pedestrians before proceeding. Yellow arrow, constantly lit. The constantly lit yellow arrow means the green arrow is ending or that the light is about to turn red. Yellow arrow, flashing. The flashing yellow arrow means you may turn in the direction the arrow is pointed after yielding the right-of-way to any pedestrians and vehicles in the intersection or crosswalk. Green arrow. When the arrow is pointed upward, you may go straight ahead only. When the arrow is pointed to the right, you may turn to the right. When the arrow is pointed to the left, you may turn to the left. Pedestrian traffic signals, walk lights, and crossings. Pedestrians must yield the right-of-way to drivers by obeying traffic signals, observing walk lights, and using crosswalks. Walking person. If you are facing the signal, you may cross the roadway in the direction of the signal. Don't walk, flashing orange upraised hand. Do not start to enter the roadway. If you have partially completed crossing during the constantly lighted walk signal, you may continue to a sidewalk or safety island. Don't walk, constantly lit orange upraised hand. Do not enter the roadway. Yellow light, constant upraised hand. Do not cross unless directed by a pedestrian control sign or police officer. Lane signals. Special lights sometimes are used over each lane on highways and expressways. They are used most often to change the flow of traffic during certain hours of the day. Red X. Never drive in this lane when the red X is displayed. Yellow X. This indicates the lane signal is going to change to red. Leave this lane safely before the red X appears. Flashing yellow arrow. This indicates the lane may be used for approaching and making a left turn. Green arrow. This indicates lanes may be used, but all other signs and signals must be obeyed. Pavement markings. Edge lines. Solid lines along the side of the road that tell you where the edge of the pavement is located. Solid white lines are used on the right of the roadway edge. Solid yellow lines are used on the left edge of divided streets or roadways. White lane lines. White lane lines separate lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. Broken white lines separate lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. Crossing the line is only allowed when changing lanes or turning. Solid white lines separate lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. Crossing a solid white line requires special care and is discouraged. Solid double white lines separate lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. Crossing a double solid white line is prohibited. Yellow center lines. Yellow center lines separate lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. Broken yellow lines separate single lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. Passing is allowed. Solid double yellow lines are used where traffic is moving in opposite directions. Two solid lines mark the center of the roadway and may be crossed to make a left turn to or from an alley, private road, driveway, or street. Yellow no passing lines. No passing lines are solid yellow lines on roads where traffic moves in opposite directions. The lines indicate zones where passing is not allowed. When the solid yellow line is on your side of the center line, you may cross it to finish passing a vehicle you already started to pass before the beginning of the no passing zone. You may cross it to make a left turn into or from an alley, private road, or driveway. When there is a solid and a broken yellow line separating two lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions, you may pass only when the broken yellow line is nearest your lane. Two-way left turn lanes. Two-way left turn lanes are marked with yellow lines and white arrows. A left turn may not be made from any other lane when a turn lane is provided. A vehicle may not be driven in the lane except when preparing for or making a left turn from or into the roadway or when preparing for or making a U-turn when permitted by law. White stop line. A white stop line is painted across a lane at an intersection. The line is usually 4 feet before the crosswalk in an urban area. It shows where you must stop your vehicle for a stop sign or red light. You must stop your vehicle before any part of it crosses the line. White crosswalk lines. White crosswalk lines are painted across the entire width of the pavement. Sometimes the inside area is marked with white diagonal lines for added visibility. Pedestrians in crosswalks have the right of way over vehicles. Crosswalks are sometimes in the middle of the block and a pedestrian crossing sign is located at the white lines. Other markings. Yellow or white diagonal stripes are used to mark fixed obstructions. Solid white or yellow lines are sometimes used to channel traffic around a hazard. Curb markings, fire lanes, and pavement markings may be designated as no parking areas by local authorities. Railroad crossings. Railroad crossings are marked with one or more of the following special warning devices. Round advance warning sign, a yellow sign with a black X and the letters RR means a highway railway crossing is ahead. The sign may be placed up to 750 feet in advance of the railroad crossing. Pavement markings, a solid yellow line in advance of the crossing means no passing. White stop lines on each side of the track show motorists where to stop when a train is approaching. These markings also indicate a highway railway crossing is ahead. Railroad crossbuck sign, if a railroad crossing has more than one track, the number of tracks is on the sign below the crossbuck. This is considered a yield sign, and you must yield the right of way to any oncoming trains and railroad equipment. Flashing light signals, when lights begin to flash, you must always stop until the train has passed and the lights have stopped flashing. Gates, remain stopped until the lowered gates are raised and lights are no longer flashing. Do not attempt to beat crossing gates as they are lowering or go around lowered gates. Tracks equipped with an automated railroad crossing enforcement system may record an image of the vehicle license plate number, time, date, and location of any violation. Drivers are subject to fines and possible suspension of their driving privileges for violations. Chapter 11, Safe Driving Tips. Driving is a privilege and a responsibility. A driver must obey all traffic laws and be prepared to react to other drivers and driving conditions. Drive defensively. Always be prepared to react to another driver. Do not assume you know what the other driver is going to do. If you cannot avoid a crash, remain calm and try to choose the least dangerous situation. Following distances. Following a vehicle too closely, or tailgating, is the cause of most rear-end crashes. Use the 3-second rule to determine a safe following distance. To use the 3-second rule, select a fixed object on the road ahead such as a sign, tree, or overpass. When the vehicle in front of you passes the object, count 1001, 1002, etc. Your vehicle should not reach the object before the count of 1003. If this occurs, you are following too close. The 3-second rule also applies to your vehicle speed when you are on a good road and during good weather conditions. If the road and/or weather conditions are not good, increase your following distance even more. If you are being tailgated, move to another lane or slowly pull off the road and allow the vehicle to pass. Vehicle speed. Driving too fast or too slowly can create a dangerous situation. Regardless of the posted speed limit, weather and traffic conditions may make it necessary to drive more slowly. Your speed should be adjusted for the conditions and match the flow of traffic as long as it does not surpass the maximum posted speed limit. Doubling your speed quadruples your vehicle's stopping distance. Consider the following when deciding your speed. How quickly you can react physically and mentally. Type and condition of the roadway. Size of the tires. Large, wide tires with good tread will stop a vehicle faster than small, narrow tires with little tread. Condition of the brakes. Newer brakes stop a vehicle more quickly than older, worn brakes. Direction of the wind and how fast is it blowing. A strong tailwind can make it very difficult to stop. Type of vehicle, vehicle design, weight distribution, suspension and shock absorbers all play a role in how quickly a vehicle can stop. Drowsy driving. Drowsy driving can impair your ability to drive safely, even if you do not fall asleep. A driver often cannot react in time to apply brakes or steer away from a potential crash. You should be properly rested and avoid drowsiness by stopping frequently when taking long trips. Exercising your eyes by reading road signs or shifting the focus to different parts of the roadway is also helpful. Weather conditions. Weather can create a driving hazard. Special care must be taken in fog, rain, high winds, and winter driving conditions. Fog. While it is not advisable, if you must drive in foggy conditions, take the following precautions. Turn off the cruise control and increase your following distance. Slow down. If you see headlights or taillights, slow down even more. A driver may be driving in the center of the roadway or may be stopped or barely moving. Drive with your headlights set on dim or use fog lights. Do not overdrive your headlights. Stay within the limits of your vision in case it is necessary to stop suddenly. If the fog is too dense, pull off the roadway and stop. Do not drive at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Use turn signals long before making a turn. Brake early when approaching a stop to warn other drivers. Rain. Illinois law requires you to use your headlights when operating your windshield wipers. When rain begins to fall lightly, water, dust, oil, and leaves cause the roadway to become slippery. Take the following precautions when driving in rain. Turn off the cruise control and increase your following distance. Take special precautions on curves, turns, and while braking. Slow down to avoid hydroplaning. If your vehicle skids while hydroplaning, try to regain control of the vehicle. If that is not possible, release the accelerator and ride out the skid. If you come across a roadway or viaduct that has been flooded due to heavy rain, do not drive through the flooded area. It is impossible to determine the depth or current of the water. Turn your vehicle around and find another route. High winds. Wind can be a difficult problem, especially for drivers of trucks, recreational vehicles, campers, and trailers in tow. Take the following precautions. Reduce your speed and make steering corrections when going from a protected area to an open area and when meeting large vehicles such as trucks and buses. Heavy rain or sleet often accompanies high winds. Be alert to wet or slippery areas and plan for those conditions. The Illinois tollway system bans the hauling of house trailers in high winds. Winter driving. Winter is the most difficult driving season due to possible ice, snow, lower temperatures, and fewer daylight hours. Drive slower and increase your following distance. Roadway conditions may vary depending upon the sun, shade, or roadway surface. Turn off the cruise control if the pavement is wet, icy, or snowy. Remove all snow and ice from your vehicle, clear all windows, and do not start driving until the windshield is defrosted and clear. Be sure that you have non-freezing windshield washer liquid and that the vehicle's headlights and taillights are visible. Be sure the vehicle is maintained properly. Lights, brakes, windshield wipers, defrosters, radiator, and other parts should be in good working order. Use snow tires and/or chains where allowed. Snow tires give extra traction and chains increase safety on snow or ice-covered roads. Neither snow tires nor chains allow you to drive on bad roads at normal speeds. Gently apply brakes in slow, steady strokes. This helps you determine how much vehicle traction is available. Begin braking early when coming to an intersection or stop. Approach bridges, shaded spots, overpasses, and turn slowly. They may remain icy after the rest of the roadway is clear and dry. Plan ahead for winter driving. Carrying a blanket, food, and other survival equipment, such as a shovel, in your vehicle can be helpful if stranded. If you do become stranded, remain in your vehicle. Run the engine only for brief times and open the window to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. If possible, make sure the vehicle's tailpipe is free of snow and debris. Special driving situations and hazards. Expressway driving. Expressways, interstates, toll roads, turnpikes, and freeways are fast, multiple-lane roads with maximum speed limits of 55, 65, or 70 miles per hour. Be alert when driving on expressways because speed and traffic volume are major concerns. Following are tips for safe driving on expressways. When entering an expressway, you will usually find a speed change lane. This lane allows you to gain the speed necessary before merging. Signal and look for an opening in the traffic, match traffic speed, and merge with traffic when safe. Check your rear view and side mirrors before changing lanes. Use your turn signals when making lane changes. Do not follow too closely. Allow plenty of distance between you and the vehicle ahead. The right lane is for slower traffic. The left lane is for faster traffic and for passing. Do not drive continuously in the left lane. Do not stop on the expressway. Pull off the road if you are experiencing a problem. Lift your vehicle's hood and turn on your hazard flashers. Never walk along the expressway. Freeway exits may be on the right or left. Be sure your vehicle is in the correct exit and speed change lanes and use your turn signals to indicate the intent to exit. When approaching the exit, slow down to make the exit in the speed change lane. If you miss an exit, go to the next available exit. Backing up on an expressway is against the law. If lanes are reduced due to construction or maintenance, merge early into the open lane if the road is not heavily congested. However, in dense, slow-moving traffic, it is advised that you use both lanes to advance to the lane reduction point and merge at that location, alternating turns. Night driving. Night driving is difficult because things may appear differently than in daylight. Glare from lights may interfere with vision. Never overdrive your vehicle's headlights and always keep them cleaned and aimed properly. Lights should be used from sunset to sunrise. Bright lights must be dimmed 500 feet before meeting an oncoming vehicle or 300 feet before passing a vehicle. Dim the dashboard lights, use the sun visor to avoid glare and avoid using any other light inside the vehicle. Use edge lines and center lines of the roadway as guides. Do not stop on the roadway. If you must stop, use of a red warning light is recommended. Rural intersections. Depending on the time of the year, it may be difficult to see other drivers. Some rural intersections may be marked with warning signs, stop, yield, etc., while others may not. When approaching any rural intersection, slow down and look both ways before entering the intersection. Curves. Slow down before entering a curve. Do not brake suddenly, as this may cause skidding or locked wheels. Never drive over the center line. Head-on approaches. When a vehicle is approaching head-on in your lane, slow down, pull over to the right and sound the horn. Skidding. Skidding occurs when tires lose traction. If your vehicle starts to skid, ease off the gas pedal or brakes, steer into the direction of the skid until regaining traction, and then straighten the vehicle. Driving off the pavement. If your vehicle's wheels drift off the pavement onto the shoulder, grip the wheel firmly, ease your foot off the gas pedal and brake gently. After checking for traffic behind you, gently steer your vehicle back onto the pavement. Do not jerk the wheel to correct the steering. This may cause the vehicle to drive into oncoming traffic. Fire. If smoke appears, pull off the road. Turn off the engine, move away from your vehicle and call 911. Vehicle fires can be very dangerous. Do not fight the fire yourself. Water crashes. If your vehicle runs off the roadway into water but does not sink right away, try to escape through a window. Because of differences in water pressure, you or your passengers may not be able to open the car doors. If your vehicle does sink, move to the back seat area where an air pocket usually forms. If possible, take a deep breath and exit from a rear window. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide is deadly. It is found in fumes produced any time a vehicle burns fuel. The most common symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning are headache, dizziness, weakness, upset stomach, vomiting, chest pain, and confusion. Carbon monoxide symptoms are often described as flu-like. People who fall asleep in their vehicles or leave them running in their garage can die before they have symptoms. Everyone in the vehicle is at risk, particularly older people, infants, and individuals with cardiac, pulmonary, or blood disorders. It is recommended that you have a mechanic check your vehicle exhaust system every year. Never run a vehicle inside a garage that is attached to a house. Electricity. If you are in a crash that results in power lines falling on your vehicle, the danger of electrical shock exists. You and your passengers should remain in the vehicle until help arrives. If fire is an immediate danger, you must jump clear of the vehicle. When jumping clear, do not allow any part of your body to touch the vehicle and the ground at the same time. When jumping from the vehicle, land on both feet and hop or shuffle while keeping your arms close to your body for a distance of 50 feet away from the vehicle. Explosive fire hazard. Always shut off your vehicle's engine when refueling. Never smoke around gas pumps. For safety purposes, remain with the pump while refueling. Equipment failure. Crashes often happen when equipment fails. Equipment failures may include blowouts. Thumping sound may be a warning of a blowout. If this happens, ease your foot off the gas pedal and keep a firm grasp on the steering wheel. Pull safely off the roadway and check the tires. Do not brake suddenly. Loss of a wheel or tire, react the same as a tire blowout. Steering failure. If you suddenly have no control of the steering wheel, ease off the gas pedal, turn on your vehicle's emergency flashers, and allow your vehicle to come to a slow stop. Brake very gently to prevent your vehicle from spinning. If your vehicle has power steering or a locking steering wheel, do not turn off the ignition because your vehicle will lose either the power steering or its ability to steer. Brake failure. If the brake pedal suddenly sinks to the floor, pump it to build pressure. If that does not work, use the emergency or parking brake. To slow down, shift your vehicle into a lower gear. Headlight failure. If your headlights fail suddenly, try using your vehicle's emergency flashers, parking lights, and/or turn signals, and pull off the road. If your lights begin to dim, drive to a service station or pull off the road and seek help. Stuck gas pedal. If your gas pedal becomes stuck, hook your toe under it to free it. If it does not become free, shift your vehicle into neutral and brake gently to slow down. Blocked vision. If your vision becomes blocked, roll down your side window to see. Turn on your vehicle's emergency flashers and pull your vehicle off the road. Aggressive driving. Aggressive driving is the operation of a motor vehicle in a manner that endangers or is likely to endanger persons or property. A person doing any of the following may be committing acts of aggressive driving and pose the risk of a crash. Speeding. Running red lights and stop signs. Tailgating. Passing on the shoulder of the road. Cutting off another vehicle. Slamming on brakes in front of a tailgater. Improper hand or facial gestures at other drivers. Yelling. Repeatedly honking the horn. Repeatedly flashing the headlights. If you encounter an angry or aggressive motorist, do not retaliate or in any way engage the other driver. Do not make eye contact. Keep your vehicle doors locked and windows up. Keep enough space between you and the vehicle in front of you to pull out from behind. Do not underestimate a driver's potential for aggression. Chapter 12: Equipment for Safe Driving. To be a safe driver, your vehicle must be properly equipped and in good working condition. It is illegal to drive a vehicle that may be a hazard to any person or property. Required equipment. Your motor vehicle must have the following working equipment. Brakes. Vehicles must have 2 brake systems and brakes on all wheels. The foot brake must be strong enough to stop a vehicle traveling at a speed of 20 miles per hour within 30 feet. The emergency or parking brake must be strong enough to stop the vehicle in 55 feet at the same speed. The emergency brake also must be able to hold the vehicle on a grade or hill. Motor-driven cycles need only 1 brake. Headlights. Vehicles must have 2 headlights, and they must be on from sunset to sunrise and be used in times when rain, snow, fog, or other conditions require the use of windshield wipers. They also should be used when objects 1,000 feet away cannot be seen. Bright lights must be dimmed 500 feet before meeting an oncoming vehicle or 300 feet before passing a vehicle. Motorcycles and mopeds require a headlight, which must show objects 500 feet ahead and be turned on whenever the vehicle is driven. No tinted or smoked lenses are allowed on any vehicles. Tail lights. Vehicles must have 2 red lights visible for 500 feet from behind. Only 1 tail light is needed for mopeds and motorcycles. Turn signals. Vehicles, except motorcycles, trailers and semi-trailers, must have right and left turn signals on the front and rear visible from 300 feet. License plate light. Vehicles must have a white light making the license plate readable from 50 feet away and must be on when headlights are on. Parking lights. Front and rear parking lights are required for any vehicle stopped on a highway at night. Some local communities may allow unlighted night parking on streets. Safety belts. Passenger vehicles must have 2 sets of safety belts in the front seat. Vehicles manufactured in 1965 or after may not be sold or operated in Illinois without safety belts. Mirrors. 1 rearview mirror is required so you can see at least 200 feet behind your car. Windows. All window glass must be approved safety glass. The windshield must be free of snow, ice, moisture, and any defects that distort vision. All glass must be free of obstructions between the driver and front or rear windows. Tinted windows are not allowed on the front windshield. A 6-inch strip of tinting is allowed along the entire length at the top of the front windshield. Wipers. Wipers must operate properly to clear ice, snow, and moisture. Horn. Vehicles must have a horn that can be heard from 200 feet. Sirens, whistles, and bells are allowed only on authorized emergency vehicles. Muffler. A muffler must be on the exhaust system to prevent excessive noise and smoke. Cutouts, bypasses, and changes to the system to increase noise are illegal. Bumpers. Vehicles weighing 9,000 pounds or less and all recreational vehicles must have a front and rear bumper. It is illegal to alter the suspension system of a vehicle to lift the body from the chassis frame in excess of 3 inches. The horizontal line from the front to the rear may not vary over 3 inches. Restricted equipment. Projecting loads. Loads extending 4 feet or more to the rear of a vehicle must be marked with a red flag during the day. At night or when visibility is poor, the vehicle must have a red light visible for 500 feet. Backup lights. Vehicles may have one or more backup lights which shall emit a white or amber light without glare. However, they may not be on when the vehicle is moving forward. Spotlights. Only one spotlight is allowed on a vehicle. When approaching another vehicle, it must be directed neither to the left nor more than 100 feet ahead. A vehicle may not have more than 4 300 candle power lights burning. Flashing or moving lights. Flashing or moving lights other than turn signals or hazard indicators are prohibited, except for police or designated emergency vehicles. Red lights. Red lights visible from the front are prohibited, except for police or designated emergency vehicles. Running board lights, limited to one on each side and must be non-glare white or amber lights. Cowl or fender lamps, only 2 lights are allowed and must be non-glare, white or amber lights. Studded tires. Pneumatic tires with metal studs are illegal except for vehicles used by mail carriers in rural areas between November 15th and April 1st, vehicles displaying persons with disabilities or disabled veteran plates between November 15th and April 1st, owners must live on a county or township road in an unincorporated area, agricultural tractors or traction engines. Agricultural machinery, including wagons, being used for agricultural towing purposes, or road building machinery operated at a speed of less than 10 miles per hour. Televisions or video. Televisions or video recording monitors that can be seen from the driver's seat are prohibited while the vehicle is in motion. Watching or streaming a live video on a cell phone is a violation of Illinois law. Antique vehicles. Special rules for lamps, brakes, lights, head, tail, and stop lights, and turn signals apply to vehicles more than 25 years old. For more information, call the Secretary of State's office at 800-252-8980 or visit ilsos.gov. Radar jamming device. Possession and use of radar jamming devices is prohibited in all vehicles. Chapter 13. Owning a vehicle. Purchasing a vehicle. If you purchase a vehicle in Illinois, you must follow certain laws and responsibilities. Purchasing from a dealer. A dealer must follow certain laws when selling a new or used vehicle. Within 20 days of purchase, a dealer must send the following to the Secretary of State's office. Application for vehicle transactions. Properly signed certificate of title or certificate of origin. Separate payments for title/license plate fees and sales tax on the vehicle. Sales tax varies depending on the city or county where the vehicle is purchased. Purchasing from a private owner. If you purchase or obtain a vehicle from someone other than a dealer, within 20 days of ownership the Secretary of State's office must receive the following. Application for vehicle transactions. Properly signed certificate of title in the seller's name. Payment of title/license plate fees. Payment of vehicle use tax. If the selling price is less than $15,000, the tax is based on the model year of the vehicle. If the selling price is $15,000 or more, the tax is based on the selling price of the vehicle. A RUT-50 tax form must be submitted along with the correct tax payment to Illinois Department of Revenue. Purchasing out of state. If you purchase a vehicle out of state, the following items must be sent to the Secretary of State's office to obtain a certificate of title and license plates. Application for vehicle transactions. Payment of title/license plate fees. The amount is shown on the application. Certificate of origin signed by the dealer if the vehicle is new, or a properly assigned certificate of title if the vehicle is used. For both new and used vehicles, you also must have a bill of sale. Recent vehicle registration ID card. You are transferring license plates. Payment of sales or vehicle use tax. Vehicle registration and title. When you register a vehicle, you are providing the state with a record of that vehicle. Registration allows you to legally use the vehicle on Illinois roadways. To register a vehicle in Illinois, you must have an Illinois certificate of title. This document proves ownership. All vehicles and mobile homes must have a certificate of title whether or not they are registered. Registration fees must be paid annually. A $20 late fee is assessed on registrations renewed more than 1 month past the expiration date. Vanity/personalized plates and some other plate categories carry additional fees in addition to the following fees. Passenger vehicle and B-truck, 8,000 pounds or less, $151. Motorcycle, $41. Autocycle, $71. Replacement plate, $16. Replacement plates, $29. Replacement sticker, $20. Fees are subject to legislative change. For up-to-date fee information, visit ilsos.gov. When you receive the license plate/sticker, you will also receive a vehicle registration ID card that must be carried in your vehicle or with you when driving. License plate requirements. Illinois law requires all passenger vehicles, trucks, and vans to display 2 plates, one on the front and one on the rear. License plate frames should not cover any of the information on the license plates. License plates covers are not allowed. Motorcycles, mopeds, trailers, semi-trailers, and buses registered under apportionment provisions must display 1 license plate on the rear of the vehicle. Truck tractors and apportioned straight trucks must have 1 license plate on the front of the vehicle. When a vehicle is sold, the license plates should be removed and kept by the seller. In Illinois, license plates remain with the owner, not the vehicle. Temporary registration permit. When you apply for registration for your vehicle, you may be issued a temporary registration permit, TRP. This permit must be displayed in the same place and manner as a rear license plate. The TRP is valid for 90 days from the issuance date, although it may be reissued if the license plates do not arrive within 90 days. Once you receive the license plates, the TRP should be removed and replaced with the permanent license plates. For your protection, the permit should be destroyed and discarded upon removal. TRPs are available through Illinois licensed dealers, licensed remittance agencies, currency exchanges, and Secretary of State facilities. License plate renewal. As a courtesy, about 60 days before your vehicle registration expires, you may receive a reminder postcard, an email, and/or renewal notice from the Secretary of State's office. You may renew online at ilsos.gov, by mail, by visiting a Secretary of State facility, or by calling the toll-free number on the postcard and/or renewal notice. You also may renew at certain banks, savings and loans, currency exchanges, credit unions, and remittance agencies. You are encouraged to immediately affix the renewal sticker to the upper right side of the rear license plate. If you do not immediately display the renewal sticker and the current sticker has expired, law enforcement may stop your vehicle and issue a ticket. Illinois law allows you to drive without an up-to-date vehicle renewal sticker displayed on your license plate, provided you have a receipt in your vehicle from the Secretary of State proving you purchased a sticker online before expiration, but have not yet received it. The printed receipt is only valid as proof of registration for 30 days from the expiration of the registration sticker currently displayed on the license plate. Registration renewal for veterans. Members of the U.S. Armed Forces, serving in active duty or as a reservist, who can show proof of service in a combat mission, shall have their standard vehicle registration fee waived for the renewal period immediately following their return to the United States. Proof must be shown at the time of registration renewal. Vehicle owners who are a member of the U.S. Armed Forces serving in a non-combat capacity, a civilian employee of the Armed Forces, or an employee of the U.S. Department of Defense serving outside the United States but are a legal resident of Illinois have 45 days from their date of return to obtain or renew the vehicle registration. Special license plates. Personalized and vanity license plates are available for passenger vehicles, second division vehicles weighing 8,000 pounds or less, motorcycles, vehicles operated by persons with disabilities, recreational vehicles, recreational trailers, and antique vehicles. Please allow at least 45 days from the time the order is placed to receive your license plates. Reduced fee license plates. Senior citizens and persons with disabilities who qualify for the Benefit Access Program, formerly known as Circuit Breaker, tax relief through the Illinois Department on Aging are eligible for reduced license plate fees for passenger, standard license plates and specialty license plates, and recreational vehicles. One discount per year is allowed. For more information, please call the Illinois Department on Aging at 800-252-8966 or 888-206-1327, TTY. Mandatory insurance. All vehicles operated in Illinois must be covered by liability insurance, which covers injuries or damages to other persons or their property caused by a vehicle crash. Vehicle owners are required to provide insurance information at the time of registration renewal. Once the vehicle owners sign the registration or renewal application, they affirm that the vehicle is properly insured. Some vehicle classes are required to carry higher liability coverage under other laws. The following are minimum liability insurance limits in Illinois: $25,000 for injury or death of one person in a crash. $50,000 for injury or death of more than one person in a crash. $20,000 for damage to property of another person. Evidence of liability coverage must be carried by the motorist or in the vehicle and shown to law enforcement officers upon request. Insurance companies must issue Illinois insurance cards to policyholders or provide an insurance card that can be displayed on the driver's cell phone or other electronic device. Contact your insurance agent or company if you lose your insurance card or the company fails to send one. Meanwhile, carry in your vehicle some other form to prove insurance coverage, such as an insurance binder, the current policy declarations page, a certificate of insurance, or the last insurance payment receipt, until you receive your new card. Enforcement of the law is managed through random computer checks by the Secretary of State's office and the issuance of traffic tickets. In addition, vehicle owners must provide proof of insurance to the Secretary of State's office or the remitter when renewing their license plates. This proof of insurance can be in a paper or electronic format. Failure to carry the required insurance will result in fines, the inability to renew the vehicle registration, suspension of driving privileges, and suspension of the vehicle registration until proof of insurance is obtained. Providing false information to the Secretary of State's office or a remitter for the purpose of renewing the vehicle registration may result in criminal charges and a fine. If you have trouble obtaining insurance, you should contact the Illinois Automobile Insurance Plan for assistance. Emissions testing. In compliance with the Clean Air Act, certain vehicles in various areas of Illinois must pass an Illinois Environmental Protection Agency (IEPA) emissions test in order for the Secretary of State's office to renew the vehicle's registration. Notice is provided to owners of the scheduled test month and year for their vehicles. A vehicle emissions test is required in the following counties: all of Cook, DuPage, and Lake, and parts of Kane, Kendall, McHenry, Will, Madison, Monroe, and St. Clair. If you move from the area in which testing is required, you must notify the Secretary of State. For more information, please call the Illinois Air Team at 844-258-9071 or visit the Illinois Air Team website at www.illinoisairteam.com. License plates and parking placards for persons with disabilities. License plates. Illinois residents with a permanent disability may obtain persons with disabilities license plates for vehicles titled in their name. An immediate family member residing in the same household may obtain 2 sets of plates if the qualifying person with disabilities does not own a vehicle and must rely on someone else for transportation. Corporations, school districts, limited liability companies, nursing homes, convalescent homes, and special education cooperatives transporting eligible persons may obtain these plates as well. These plates do not exempt the authorized holder from parking meter fees and time limitations at parking meters. Parking placards. Disability parking placards may be issued to any Illinois resident with a physician-certified disability. They may only be used in a vehicle if the disabled person is present and entering or exiting the vehicle while parked at a designated disabled parking space. The 4 types of disability parking placards are: meter-exempt permanent. this placard is issued to persons with permanent disabilities that significantly impair their ability to access a parking meter. There are specific types of disabilities that meet this qualification. The placard allows the authorized holder to park in spaces reserved for persons with disabilities, such as a mall, grocery, or retail store, and exempts the holder from parking meter fees and time limitations at meters exceeding a 30-minute time limit. Placards expire on the last day of the holder's birth month in 2022. Permanent, this placard is issued to persons with other types of permanent disabilities. The placard allows the authorized holder to park in spaces reserved for persons with disabilities such as a mall, grocery, or retail store. The placard does not exempt the holder from parking meter fees and time limitations. Placards expire on the last day of the holder's birth month in 2022. Temporary, this placard is issued to persons with a temporary disability. The placard is valid for the length of time indicated by the certifying physician, not to exceed 6 months if issued by the Secretary of State and 90 days if issued by a local municipality. The placard does not exempt the authorized holder from parking meter fees and time limitations. Organization, this placard is issued to organizations that offer free transportation to persons with disabilities. The placard allows the authorized holder to park in spaces reserved for persons with disabilities when transporting persons with disabilities. The placard does not exempt the holder from parking meter fees and time limitations. Placards expire on April 30, 2022. For more information on any of the items discussed in this chapter, visit ilsos.gov or call 800-252-8980.